Hey Tifa.
Hi, Jack.
No. Hey Tifa.
Hey, Jack.
Ask me my favorite artist.
Who's your favorite artist, Jack?
Your mama.
Your mama who?
No, your mama because she made you.
Wow. That is so bad.
I saw that one earlier today on Reddit and I was like, I need to use that. Maybe I should have given Tifa more of a heads up on how we get this started, but I think this worked beautifully. Hello, Psycho. Don't know why you're dying of cringe, but hopefully not because of this.
Psycho probably already knew what you were going to start with, because all I knew was, oh, I got something to start with.
Happy Sunday, everybody. How are you all doing? Jack, I want to end the weekend on a good note. This was beautiful. This was super sweet. This was probably the only, like, entirely nice Yo Mama joke that I know of. Like,
now that you mention it, yeah.
I was adorable.
What were you supposed to say after your mama? Because
Nothing.
you looked like you were still waiting for something.
No, you need to set up the joke differently. I messed that up.
Because I was confused.
You need to start a conversation. You need to create a point in a conversation where the other person asks you about your favorite artist. And then you go, your mama. And then you're like, my mama? Why? Because she made you.
Oh.
I think it worked beautifully.
It still worked.
I'm gonna treat myself to some water.
Cheers to that.
I was about having finished helping my relatives move in.
Hey,
Psycho.
cheers to that as well.
Cheers to that. How long will you now need to recover from all of that?
Well, I want to say for the next year, there's no more moving anything.
Hopefully.
Dark Lord, congratulations on being
Nice.
second. How are you doing?
Well done. How are you?
No, but today is a cheers kind of day. Like, we also have something to cheers for.
Multiple things.
Yeah, the first things first. We got away today with the perfect crime.
We committed... I don't know if we should be saying this on stream, because I think technically we could still get fined for it. So, allegedly,
Allegedly, we got away with the perfect crime today.
the perfect German crime. Go on.
And it's pretty serious too. Like, I don't know why I'm so happy about this.
Because you are you. This calls for that. As a Tifa got a Tifa moment. I committed a crime and I got away with it.
Yay!
Uh-huh.
And Jack was all in on it. Like, we even dodged the police, I kid you not. Allegedly. Allegedly. As build up. But I think I'm going to ruin it if I say the story. So you should.
Allegedly, Tifa was bugging me today about, I want to clean up the apartment, as she usually does, and when I ignore her because do it yourself. I don't care. No, we really should. So I was bugging her instead. Tifa, you need to exercise and move that body of yours, so instead of laying on the couch all day, you should go for a walk with me while the weather is nice.
And I was like, no, we need to clean first.
I was like, yeah, but now the weather is nice, so let's go for a walk now. Because, you know, you can't control the weather. So Tifa was getting dressed, I was getting dressed, and I was like, Tifa, hand me a shopping bag, please. And Tifa was like, why? You don't need a shopping bag to go walk. I'm like, no, but how about we combine what I want, which is a beautiful walk with my beloved fiance, and we get to combine yours, which is cleaning up, and we throw some glass away.
The true Germans
Allegedly.
among us will already hear what the problem is.
It's a Sunday. You can't throw glass into a glass container on Sundays, because Sunday is a resting day. Our glass containers in Germany actually have terms of use when you are allowed to use them because of the noise it creates. I don't know how people put glass into containers so loud that it wakes up a baby in the house block behind you. It doesn't matter. They have terms of use. You're only allowed to use this glass container Monday through Saturday between 8 and 12 and between 1 and 5, stuff like
this. In the afternoon, you also have a rest hour.
This is actually printed on those. This is not a joke. But allegedly...
So Jack, already feeling a bit cheeky today, and like wanting to break crime, like he's channeling his inner Keiichi.
Bad boy day.
Yeah. You were such a rebel.
I popped my collar when I went outside.
Such a rebel.
Because it was windy.
So, we go out with a bag full of glass because it's been stacking for a moment. And we don't have our own glass containers in our street. We need to actually like walk somewhere to throw away the glass.
We must travel for it.
And the glass containers are at the corner of a street. So I would go like, okay, let me already take some out. I'll go throw it away. And Jack's like, no, we can't. There's police standing there. So I look next to us and there is indeed police standing at the corner. I'm like, just throw it away.
No.
He's like, it's Sunday. We're throwing away the glass. I'm not gonna risk the police coming after us.
Yes.
As if they will care.
I'm sorry.
Nobody lives in that street. No one will hear the glass.
Getting fined for throwing glass away at the wrong time is about the most loser thing to happen to a person. And I don't need that in my life. I don't even need the risk. Like, imagine getting punished for throwing your trash away properly, but at the wrong time, when it impacts nobody. So allegedly, I warned Tifa, no, the cops are here.
So he I was just gonna do it.
So like, activate stealth mode.
Takes the bag with bottles from me, and you hear the Klingon. He's like,
and I'm pretending like it isn't heavy. I'm just casually walking like, this is totally not glass bottles from like a month because we barely ever use glass bottles, and now I'm carrying them. It's not heavy at all.
So now, because Jack was scared of being caught in this super dangerous situation, it was high stakes. We decided to walk half a kilometer to the next glass container, dragging that shit along with us, which is the distance.
4 streets further, so that the cops don't see me, allegedly.
The distance of like 600 corgis, I want to say.
Yes.
So we go to the next glass container, and while Jack's throwing it around, he's like looking if the cops followed us. Like, how nervous can you be?
When you allegedly commit an offense, you make sure you don't get caught.
So yeah, it was an exciting Sunday, as you could tell. We dodged the police, we got away with crime.
Allegedly.
Someone asked, this is all for a novel we're writing?
Yes, unallegedly. Calling for Ordnungsamt as we speak. We're gonna bust through the window, we're gonna get fined, they're gonna drag us out here in glass container abuse handcuffs. It's gonna be a whole thing.
If we don't return from our break, you know what's up.
Yeah.
Psycho snitched on us. But seeing how we didn't get caught now, we didn't get fined, we got away with the perfect run.
Why would we get caught? We didn't do nothing.
True. There was no beginning.
That was a purely fictional story. I would never do such a thing. Never. Dark Lord, I'm sorry you woke up with a toothache.
The Two-Face sucks.
Yes, they do. I still need to get the hole in my tooth fixed. I still haven't been to the dentist.
True, I keep waiting
2 months
to make an appointment so that we can make an appointment together. But that's not possible with you, so I'm just gonna call tomorrow.
And I had the perfect opportunity to go to the dentist during our 2-week vacation, but then I was like, I'm not gonna go to the dentist during my vacation. I've got the time off, I'm gonna enjoy it. And going to the dentist to get your tooth filled with stuff isn't fun. So I didn't do it. Maybe I should. You know that Chancellor everyone loves? Well, listen, I don't think our Chancellor would necessarily care if we had actually done something, which we didn't, because the story we told was completely fictitious. It was made up. It was completely fake. And you have no way of proving it otherwise.
Seriously though. I could understand that you aren't allowed to throw glass away if it's like standing right next to a house, or if it would be like in the inner courtyard here with the rest of our trash and it's like extremely loud. But even if I now throw away trash in there and it's empty, it's also loud. Like, But in that street, it's just a street next to a road with some office buildings. Like, no one lives there. I trusted you.
I'm sorry.
Allegedly, the story is true.
Allegedly, there was a story. I don't even... I was sleeping until 30 minutes before the stream.
But I kid you not, you should have seen Jack's face when he was like, there's police.
Yes.
It was like the most serious thing ever, as if we were dragging a body behind us.
Why would
there was such fear in that.
Why would somebody, allegedly, do something in front of police that you're not supposed to do? That's like going to a police officer and like, hey, you're a cop, right? BT dubs, my bike is in no way, shape or form suitable for traffic. Can you just like look that way when I quickly get my bike and cycle that way? I don't have lights, I don't have brakes, I don't even have wheels. You wouldn't do that.
We're talking about glass.
But why would you do that?
Would have been funny to then just put it next to the container.
No, that's littering.
If it's full, that's allowed.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is Tifa
I don't know actually.
over-Germaning me?
Some of them are like completely stacked in bottles if they haven't been picked up in a while.
I'm Googling this. If you find a full glass container, please find a different one. Okay. And otherwise you're supposed to take your glass back home.
No. No.
Apparently that's a thing. You are not allowed to put them there.
Then why does everyone always stack them?
Because people don't care. Like, the concept, I don't know any other country that really does that. In Germany, that's a normal thing. Where you have to save your glass bottles and stuff, and then you have to put them somewhere where you can easily transport them, and then you have to go to a glass container to throw them away. And that's not necessarily near where your other trash is near your house.
Well, it really depends on the streets, I want to say, because the apartments across from us have a glass container bin.
Do they?
Yeah, but it's locked.
Yeah, because of people like you, allegedly.
So you can't use that one. So only if you live there, you have the key to throw away your trash there. But their trash has a separate glass container. But with us, it doesn't.
If you or somebody you know, unallegedly, in actuality, has ever been disturbed or even woken up or whatever by somebody throwing their glass away at an inopportune time, please let me know. I've never met a single person that's been affected by somebody doing that. Never.
I think you'd be surprised what people are affected by.
Like, I understand that if you work night shifts, for example, you sleep during the day because like your whole day is like vice versa, right? So you don't want me to be loud outside because you want to sleep and stuff, and I get that. But I would argue that generally like apartment buildings and stuff have come to a standard where if I throw my glass away here in the glass container on the street, you a couple 100 yards off that way, behind a wall, behind a window, you won't hear that loud enough to be annoyed by it.
No, but that's what I'm saying. With ours, it doesn't really make sense. If it was right next to houses or in front, maybe I could understand.
It's an industrial area. I would argue there are way more loud things there.
That too. There's plenty of construction going around at the moment too. So it's loud enough. But still, throwing away glass is serious business in Germany, just so you know.
Yes. If you ever consider moving to Germany or coming here to spend a longer period of time, please be aware that some people here are super hardcore about trash and recycling and all that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like the idea of, you know, splitting your trash so it's easier to like get rid of it and reuse some of it. But the cliche of having at least one neighbor in every apartment building that spends their weekend like observing neighbors throwing trash away, and then if they believe somebody threw the wrong thing into the wrong bin, to go dive in there to find it.
That is completely true, because that's our upper neighbor.
That happens.
That's our upper neighbor. And he will take out the wrong trash, puts it in the hallway with a note saying that you have to now throw your trash away correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I once threw away something incorrectly, but my neighbor thought it was someone else, so he blamed the neighbors on the other side.
Once we also got blamed for something we didn't do.
That is true, actually. Like, it goes all around. Like, I once put a big box, and usually it's expected that if you throw away box in the paper trash, you like rip it into pieces. But this box was the perfect shape and fit exactly in the trash as it was. And I had other paper trash that I then filled the box with.
I need to reiterate. When you throw paper stuff into the paper bin, like cardboard, you're expected to make it small enough so that it doesn't immediately get blocked. You know, if you're a dick and you put an empty carton box in there, but it's a closed off carton, then yeah, the space inside is lost to the volume of the bin. And I get that. That's a dick move. But if you have something that creates a perfectly snugly fit layer of paper trash.
And I'm not kidding, it fit perfectly because I checked first, because otherwise I would have still ripped it apart. Then I had some other stuff in it, but then the neighbor, I ripped off all the labels that had our name and address on it.
As you should.
And then the neighbors also put paper trash that fit in that box.
Because why wouldn't you?
But their name was on it. So the neighbor took out all of the paper, saw that in that box there was something with their name on it, put it in the hallway and like publicly shamed them to hell and back.
A 1-page handwritten letter was put into the hallway where everybody needs to go through. So for these people to be put on blast because they offended the honor of the paper bin. Yeah. Allegedly. They didn't. Nobody did. That person is just some slight amount of weird.
Maybe a few times a week, actually. He goes through the trash.
Like a raccoon, except not cute.
Sees if everything is correct.
Yeah. Germany can be weird.
Basically.
Mame, welcome in. Happy Sunday.
See, I told you people know the song. I suggested the title, and Jack was like, nobody knows that song.
Today's stream
everybody knows that
is
song.
Diggy Diggy Hole. And I thought that's just a cute saying, like maybe from a Lord of the Rings thing that I haven't seen, you know, because it sounds cute to me. It's like diggy diggy hole hole, diggy diggy hole hole. I didn't know what it's from, and he was like, everybody knows the song. I'm like, what song? What do you mean there's a song? There's a song. It's from this band. Everybody knows it. I'm like, I'm part of everybody. He's like, no, it's on TikTok. You just don't use TikTok. I'm like, that's true.
It blew up on TikTok a couple months ago, I think. At this point, I think everyone knows about Windrose.
Except me. I didn't mean to offend anybody. I just haven't heard of it. That's literally the title, Jack, but I haven't heard the song.
I don't have. It goes like, I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole. Diggy diggy hole.
Like once
but then
in my
sung
life,
by dwarves with pickaxes. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
It's called dwarf rock.
This is the internet.
It's its own genre.
This is the internet, so I must do this. Please prepare for a 15-minute video essay of me apologizing to other people I've offended. No, I've heard that song once. It was cute, but it didn't stick. So I did not recall.
Well, the song came out like 4 years ago, yeah, but I feel like it's only been blowing up this year.
Has TikTok? Oh wait, TikTok recently been used on YouTube for a decade. Okay, fair enough.
At least the Windrose version. I don't know if that's the original of the song. But that's like 4 years old.
Real quick though, Dark Lord understands the pain of throwing paper away in the wrong way. Ever since the homeowner association complained I was putting too much trash in the dumpster at once. What? Homeowner associations are also a thing over here, like not as much as in the US, I want to say. I'm not a homeowner, I do not know, but from what I've heard. But not to the tyranny that they can be in the USA. Imagine you buy a house You buy a house, it is yours. You own the ground, you own the building, or you're paying it off, but technically, it's still yours. It's the bank's, but it's yours. And when some dickweed comes and like, that's the wrong shade of blue on the fence.
Yeah, but they do the same here. I think you misunderestimate how bad they are.
Fuck them.
Like my colleague also owns his own apartment and he had to join this like homeowner association club, whatever, for the building. And every 2 weeks they have meetings where everyone needs to join to discuss the state of the apartments, the hallways, the apartment, the parking lot, things around, how messy it is.
What?
They have 2 weekly meetings.
As a kid I thought, the usual kids thing that you grew up with because like society and like your surrounding culture demands it. Like, I was told a man marries, he has a kid, he plants a tree and he buys a house. I found the girl. I think I have at some point planted something. I don't think with this economy I'll ever own a house or apartment or anything like that, and I won't have a kid. But even if I had like apartment or house money, with all the headaches that brings, I don't think I would want one.
And depending on where you live in Germany, they can dictate the color of your house,
but
the
why?
Color of your shade, the plants you plant in your garden.
Why?
Remember where your dad lives? The gardens there must have one fruit tree at a specific spot within the garden. Like it needs to be in the middle, 20 centimeters from the end of the garden. And I think it has to be a specific sort of tree, apple or pear, but I don't remember that.
Imagine you're playing Animal Crossing and every time you look at a house the wrong way or you plant a tree or a flower, like Isabel comes in like, no, that's not how we do this on this island. No, you're islanding wrong.
According to this list, that is the wrong shade of white for the leaves.
Yeah. You bought the wrong brand of paint. You can't do that here. He'd send in Mr. Rossetti. And when he actually restores it the way it's supposed to be, according to the bylaws, I don't even know what it is, I think it's illegal term. Yes. And then she's gonna kick out your favorite neighbors. Like you've been playing non-stop for 18 months of Animal Crossing because you wanted... I don't know all their names, I'm sorry, Animal Crossing people. You got the penguin and now you're like super happy because, oh my god, they're my favorite character. And then she's like, because you, motherfucker, you planted a cherry tree on this island. This is peach country. You know what we did? You know your neighbor? Penguin guy? We fucking deported him. I need the homeowner association DLC for Animal Crossing. That needs to be a thing. Make you feel like you're actually adulting while you're play adulting. You know?
Anyone wants that?
Imagine like this 8-year-old girl like playing their Switch Lite like on the way to school, like I don't know, their mom brings them for some reason. Like the little girl is sitting in the back seat. The mom was like, hey, what's the little girl name? Hey Katie, are you looking forward to the school today? Yeah, let me just quickly hop on mine at Animal Crossing. It's all the rage today. Mom, what's a homeowner association? Why am I
being deported next? No.
Mom, please don't plant a peach tree. It's cherry country.
That would be really funny, actually. Okay, maybe we do need it.
Okay, I if I'm ever a billionaire, I'm gonna buy Nintendo and I'm gonna make that happen. The next Animal Crossing is gonna be so realistic. It's gonna tank the franchise. Beautiful. Also, Diggy Diggy Hole by Yoxcast, a 10-year-old Minecraft parody. That's how old this is. I had no idea.
I did not know that one. Like I said, I only know the one version.
The only way I've ever heard the name Yogscast before is I've never watched anything by them. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they do or have done. Weren't they DLC characters in one of the Sonic Racing games? Because I own that game and I bought the deluxe edition. It was like $250 a couple years ago, and that came with the DLC. So I'm playing and suddenly it's like, you unlocked the Yogscast character. I'm like, okay. I mean, I bought this like Mario Kart but Sega game to play with Sega characters, but like cool for them. I've never played with them. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they do.
So cool to be a DLC in a game.
Yeah, I would love to be a DLC in a video game. I want to be DLC in Animal Crossing.
Doesn't the government control what you can name your child? Mostly to stop people from naming children horrible things. There's a ban list.
Yeah.
Or there's a list of banned names, yes.
I would argue they don't control what you can name your child, but they made it so that you cannot name your kid things that you really shouldn't name your kid. Like you can't name your kid Batman.
Batman and Superman have been put on the list. Yeah, wait. Banned name list. I know King.
Hitler is one of them because people are dumb and they've tried.
Santa Claus.
Jesus Christ.
Majesty. Also 1069.
Are you looking up internationally or Germany? Because...
Just a...
Yeah, I think you need to look up Germany specifically.
How is 1069 a name?
Let me get the list.
Nutella is on the ban list.
Wow, imagine naming your kid my favorite letter is X. I fully understand that. No, from a copyright standpoint, instant jail time. Instant jail time. I found an article from GQ Germany from 2022. I feel like that's still accurate enough.
Recent enough, yeah.
You are not allowed to name your kid things like rain, sun, and autumn wind. Okay.
I knew someone called Beautiful Sunshine once. Or I didn't know, but it was a customer who was called Beautiful Sunshine. American though.
Can't name your kid Giga Chan. Total bullshit. I know, right? What has this country come to? We were a proper country at some point. Time to leave. You're not allowed to use common last names as first names, like Müller, the German version of Miller. Okay. You cannot use titles like Lord, Princess, Doctor. Alright. And you cannot use names that are obviously asking for bullying, like Judas or Waldmeister, which is
Forest Master?
It's like, it's this apple flavor. I do not know why it's called Waldmeister. I do not know the German lore behind Germany in this way.
Wait. Number 3.
So, a list of things that have been rejected according to Eltern.de, parents.com, but German. Number 1, Junge, which is boy. I mean, fair. I think. Second, Lenin, like the Russian dude. Third one, Bierstübel, which is Bavarian for beer drinking place. Junge, was machst du da? Yeah, exactly. Boy, what are you doing? Like, my child King Santa Claus is gonna be so upset. Number 4 is Superman. 5 is, I think, from one of the Asterix and Obelix comics. Verleinix. Yeah, don't lend anything away.
I mean, that's a good reminder.
Number 6, Gucci. Again, brand stuff. And 7, whiskey. Why would you want to name your kid whiskey?
Funnily enough, that is drinkism, because you are allowed to call your kid champagne.
No. Here's a list of things that had not been blocked by the agency.
Pepsi Carola.
You're running away with a joke.
Sorry.
She's spoiling things.
Pepsi Carola. It's an actual legal name.
Okay, here's the list of things that people did get away with. Okay, read it out again.
Champagne.
No, the second one.
Oh, Pepsi Carola.
Not Pepsi Cola, but Carola is a first name, usually feminine, that is used in Germany. So Pepsi Carola. Number one was actually Champagne. Not with an ER at the end as you would write it in Germany, but with an A at the end, which is it's still champagne. But.
Like, if we want to protect kids from being bullied, how is Champagne and Pepsi Carola legal?
That the parents should already start like paying the child for therapy later. No.
Snow White is a legal name?
Snow White was used, or Schneewittchen, the German version. Leonardo da Vinci Franz. Some people are crazy. Winnetou, the fictional character from a bunch of books. Prestige was used. Siebenstern, which is translated to seven star. Listen, I've said this before, I'm saying it again. If at some point in your life you decide, I want to be going by the name 7 Star, that's kind of badass. But if your parents name you 7 Star, you're gonna get bullied.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault, and that's bullshit.
Same as with Smudo.
No, Smudo is a German musician.
Is it?
Yeah. Is he? Yes.
Oh, sorry, I don't see that name. Would be even funny if you put your kid on judo.
Judo. That's judo.
That's judo.
No.
No, I'm sorry. That's calling for bullying.
I'm gonna name my kid Virgin Pina Colada.
No, I'm quite sure that's not allowed. But maybe if you change the last A in colada to an E.
Just shift the first letters. Make it Virgin Quina Volada. And suddenly, bam, art.
No, with champagne, we got away with just changing the last letter.
That's
that
true.
will work here too.
Then somebody called the kid DJ, as in DEE-JAY, which is like, I've heard that as a name before. Like,
I mean, DJ is kind of a common name, and you have it in 100 different variations on how you want to spell that.
I want to say norm, like a lot of times it's the abbreviation of a double name.
No, I know a couple of DJs that are
Daniel
just called
Justin, DJ. One kid was named Clay, which is...
Clay.
No. Thanks, German speaker. It's not that. Clover, the plant.
Oh, okay.
This is now German sign language for plant. And last but not least, Tarzan. Again, a dick move. I don't know why you would do that.
Apparently sometimes a name is rejected because they will never find a job with that name.
Yeah, I think that's a stupid reason. I think the fact that you are setting your kid up to be bullied is a much better reason. Because don't do that.
Oh well.
Similarly, if your last name is Potter, I don't think you should name your kid Harry. Or if your last name is Kent, you shouldn't call your son Clark.
But I feel like with a last name you can have a whole lot more fun. And funnily enough, we were talking about that a while ago too, because the Dutch can have some pretty odd last names. Some of them like Born Naked or Jumping Over the Field.
I'm sorry, I'm still...
Fell Asleep Last.
That sounds peak Dutch, bro. I'm still on... No one wants to hire Dog Puncher Müller. That's true, I wouldn't. But I would love to have no, that's not true. I would love to have a conversation with somebody who was named a dog puncher by their parents. Because usually you name the child before they get the chance to really do anything. So my next question is Dog Puncher Miller actually punching dogs? And did that happen because the kid was named Dog Puncher at birth? Is it like a self-fulfilling prophecy? I would go way overthinking on it.
Yes.
And if I was a part of a hiring process, I would give this person extra points, assuming they're qualified for the job. Because if you get to live to the part of your life where you're looking for a job and you've made it this far with your first name being Dog Puncher, you are a special type of person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to make it that far in life without giving up, that takes balls.
I know a Dutch person who's called Struik as a last name, which would be funnier there if it hadn't been not one but two American presidents with the same name. Struik means bush, translated.
Oh, I was like, wait, what's that again?
No, but Dutch last names, there are so many quirky and fun ones. And basically, if you go before the time Napoleon was there, last names weren't a thing in the Netherlands.
So the French made the Dutch get last names?
Yes.
Okay.
The Dutch did not do last names, it was just front names. And
this
probably
is Tifa.
Half the country was called Jan, because we like the name Jan.
It's short and easy.
But then Napoleon came, and he was like, everyone must have a last name for administrative purposes.
Makes sense.
And the Dutch were like, we don't want to, but we have to. We're being forced to.
This isn't gonna stick around. This is just a fad.
This isn't gonna stick. The moment this dude leaves on his horse, we can ditch the last names. So people just came with, hey, born naked. Or like I said, jump over the field. Alright.
Or...
I couldn't even pronounce it. Kilderschwilken. Like they came up with the weirdest combinations or words or just something funny as like a protest against the last names.
I'm sorry, did Dark Lord just out-Dutch you there? Because you had her stunned.
That's not really Dutch, that's what...
But it looks Dutch.
it looks more Swedish than Dutch.
No, I'm sorry. That is Jan Geldersmijkjen and that is perfect.
It's Kilder, if anything.
Nee, it's Gelder. Dark Lord, if I ever need to get a fake pseudonym name in the Benelux countries, I'm gonna go for that one. I'm gonna steal that. Translation, please. Can you translate it?
No.
It's
not Dutch.
It just has Dutch energy. Psycho, it's like in The Office, the TV show, they had, I forgot the name of the character. He said he speaks German and he goes, Perfektenschlag. It sounds German, but it isn't. The way that sounds Dutch, but it's not. That just makes it funnier to me.
Some of the other last names that still kind of lasted are like, I'm going to be king.
What? What's that in Dutch? What's that in Dutch?
Ik word koning.
So stupid.
Some have been mutilated a bit over time, but besides the point.
Wait, the people or the names?
The names.
Oh.
Like
with you, we never know.
Anus, booty hole, all kinds of weird things have been made as a last name. And then it was like, oh wait, the last names are sticking around.
My name is Asshole.
Yeah, basically.
They really mutilated anus. Yeah, that's what she said. Kind of. Yeah.
And well, the Flemish were pretty serious about it with job names or the location they were born.
Then you have the Dutch. Yeah, no. And that, if you know nothing about Dutch culture, I feel like this still like, it's part of a vibe still, kind of.
Yeah.
Like if you walk around and people like, hey, I'm Jack, what's your last name? Arnos. Okay. Oh, just like my great-great-grandmother on the other side. Yeah, we're all anuses here. Small world.
Names are wild.
Why didn't you just like copy Scandinavia where they just go Torson? Like, you know, son of or daughter of
Jan, son of Jan.
Yeah, Jan Jansson.
Jan.
That makes perfect sense.
Zoon van Jan. Wie dan weer de zoon van Jan is.
Yeah, Jan Jansson. Just just make it easy. I think, isn't that in Iceland? Where we also have names like Grimsdottir? I can only just think of this one example. In Splinter Cell, if anybody's old enough to remember the Splinter Cell games or the books, but I don't know how close the story of the books are to the games. I've only played the games.
No.
The main character guy has a colleague, one of his like handlers that give him like information, and her name is Grimsdottir.
Okay.
They just call her Grim for short. But I looked that up at some point, and it's Grim's daughter, but I think it's Icelandic. And it looks really cool because it uses these, like, to me, really, like, weird alphabet, like, letters. It's like, that's fancy. That's awesome. Twitch started buffering on my end right when you said A from anus. Quality control. They got us. Talking about being an asshole. Tifa, what happened the last time we played Higurashi When They Cried Chapter 3 Tatarigoroshi?
The last time it was finally the day before the Watanagashi, and Keiichi is still all in his feeling mood. Cute, might commit murder later, so he's been thinking of what is the best way to actually kill Satako's uncle.
Teppei must die.
Absolutely must. He has decided to do it on the night of the Watanagashi itself. But obviously that means... Why?
Because nobody would ponder what happened. Because people just die and others disappear during Watanagashi.
Part of the tradition.
It's part of a curse, right?
We'll take it.
So I'll become part of a curse. I will do this and then they go, oh well, he must have been vanished. Meh, what can you do?
What a shame. I really like the dude. Basically that. So we've been trying to think of, okay, but how do we kill him on the Watanagashi? First of all, Satoko can't be there, so we decided that it would be best if Satoko would go to the festival without her uncle, and we called Mion to ask if she could please take care of Satoko for the night.
And that started a super weird conversation because somehow, once again, Keiichi managed to completely emulate Satoshi's behavior. Because
which we've seen in previous chapters too.
Allegedly, we don't know, we weren't there, we haven't had a tip about this yet. The night before last Watanagashi, Satoshi also called Mion to tell her, hey, you have to take Satoko tomorrow. For reasons, I'm busy doing something. And exactly the same conversation, according to Mion, who was first tipsy and then kind of struggling with reality because she kept calling us Satoshi for a bit because she like lost it too because like this is weird. And I get that if you have the same conversation with two different people exactly 1 year apart for the same reasons. She didn't say she knew what we were planning, but it was clear that she knew what we were planning.
Yeah, we kind of started talking about what Satoshi has done and how things started to kind of fit into place because hey wait, if Satoshi did this too,
he didn't run away.
He had a baseball bat, and the aunt got brutally battered to death. 1 + 1 is 2. He was like, okay, then he must have killed her.
Yeah.
And then run away to keep the police away from him and from Satoko.
Because you don't want your sister to be the sister of a murderer, right? Like, you don't want to do that to her.
Mion then added to it that she believes he did not run away because he did pick up all of his savings and he had two options, run away to Tokyo or buy the plushie that they've mentioned a couple of times for her birthday.
And
Mion mentioned that she doesn't think he ran away because the plushie that he wanted to buy was no longer in the windowsill.
Plus, from a more logistical standpoint and logically, the amount of money he had would not have been enough to run away to Tokyo and start living there.
Plus that.
Like, yeah, probably not. But nobody knows.
So we can't really confirm, but the feeling is he did not run away. He was there for Satoko. He killed the aunt and probably got murdered. This is our own theory.
Got disappeared.
Probably got disappeared by the uncle, who then ran away himself after committing that fact.
Yeah, Onikakushi is a bitch.
Basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mion said she already asked Satoko to go to the festival with her anyway. We weren't invited, by the way. I'm not sure if that's an important point or not.
Yeah, to be fair, if you suddenly have murder face happening, like resting murder face, I also wouldn't invite you to the party next day.
But we're best friends.
Yeah, no. I would like you to get out of your murder era first.
So yeah, for us, Satoko is now out of the way. She'll be happy at the festival, have a bit of distraction. And then we have two options we're considering options for the uncle. Because we do not know if he will actually leave the house.
So the easiest thing will be to lure him out by calling him and making up some bullshit. Like,
if he doesn't.
Yeah, like, hey, the girl that lives with you is in the hospital, please come check on her.
Please come pick her up, stuff like that.
Something happened.
So either he leaves himself, then we don't need to call.
Or he will be made to leave.
Or we will make an excuse on why he needs to leave.
Yeah.
There is also a forest path behind their house, which is the most likely for them or for him to walk through because you get to places and usually others don't really use that route.
Except for the 2 or 3 people that live here.
Yeah.
Keiichi's words.
That's not
mine.
a worry. So we thought, okay, we can't really ditch the body in the swamp because it might float up and all of that stuff. So we're gonna dig a hole.
Diggy, hole,
around
diggy,
the path,
diggy, hole.
Where after we beat him to death with the baseball bat, because we have decided it will be done by baseball bat, we will bury him in the hole somewhere next to the path.
Yes, and as he started digging with his camping shovel that he grabbed on the way out from home, Keiichi suddenly realized that this is difficult. Because it was physically difficult to start digging there because of like branches and stuff. And then he pondered life and he had a moment where he thought back on when he first went to school. And long story short, he learned that he's gifted. He kind of sucked at school. He was like below average because nothing interested him. But then his mom decided, hey, she offered, do you want to go to cram school? He's like, yeah, sure. And then he goes there, and it turns out there the tasks, the work that they give them to like study is presented in a different way. And one example that I remember was they were told, what would what's it called? Dodecahedron look like? A dice with 20 sides, a D20. What would that look like? So he just took a piece of paper and suddenly like drew the shape, and if you cut it out, you could form a 20-sided dice, just like that. So whenever there's actually a real life example to this, he can just do it. He cannot tell you what 2 plus 3 is on paper, but if you tell him, I've got 2 apples, Tifa gives me 3 apples, how many do I have? He's like, yeah, you've got 5 apples. Former gifted child, exactly. And that led to him thinking about how he's always been on a road in life where he's been told by others what to do. He went to school because his parents told him. He went to cram school because his parents told him.
It's kind of the weirdest way of thinking, regardless.
It's teenager thinking, and I appreciate that because, yeah, at some point you realize that.
I believe we just snapped out of that, and that's why we saved.
But also, he kind of fell out of all of his friendships because he was different from the other kids in the normal school, because he went to the gifted people school and he was the select class.
There was nothing said about friends, just that he was put in the select class.
It also mentioned that he lost friends because they didn't get along anymore. Yeah.
Don't remember.
Check the last VOD, Tifa. But that changed when he went to Hinamizawa. Because there, it was all different. And he loves his new friends. And they're wonderful. And they're great. And that's where we are. Him digging a hole while having epiphanies.
Basically, yeah. If you don't like me at my murder face, you don't deserve me at my best. Exactly.
Psycho, I know it's a joke, but one thing I never understood in my life, and you just reminded me of that. Every now and then I come across an article where it's something like young woman 23 killed by her lover after he was released from prison for 1 day. And when you read the article, and it's the story of how this guy murdered 15 people or whatever when he was younger, when he went to jail, because that's what happens when you murder people and stuff. And then
gets written letters by the I Can Fix Him.
And then somehow they became pen pals, and she fell in love with him, and she married him in jail and all that. And then he gets out, and then he kills him, and he goes back to jail. I never understood where that comes from. Like, if I see the most attractive person in the world, but you tell me, this person would be, like, this person is perfect, they're everything you ever wanted, but they are in jail, and they killed 12 kids for fun. I'd be like, then they're not perfect.
I'm sorry, but if you're hot, that doesn't matter. If there's one thing we have proven in this society, it's that if you're hot, it doesn't matter.
Tifa, that's what...
Look at
Tifa, that's why we get away with everything.
We did get away with things today, actually.
Allegedly.
No, but look at, for example...
I like how she's like going like further and further away from the camera.
There. For example, at some of the actual cases. I'm quite sure he didn't commit murder, but there is one dude who got pretty famous by his mugshots.
Yeah, because he looks like a model.
Yes,
he is very attractive.
He did his time in jail. Nobody cared about what he did.
No, they stopped caring the moment they saw the mugshot, and he's hot. And
if he wasn't hot, no one would have given a shit, and they would have let him rot in jail.
Yeah. And when he got out, and I think he got modeling contracts.
He got modeling contracts, got rich, is doing his thing now, no clue. But you have cases like that. Because as long as you're hot, you can be fixed.
Yeah, but what makes somebody go, this person has qualities that I like, and I find this person attractive. And they killed 5 people in cold blood. Like, how do you go past that? How horny do you have to be to go, hear me out, you know?
It's the personality. It can be
fuck
fixed.
That. No.
But also with, what was the show called? You. The main character.
Spoilers. It's not a spoiler. Just don't spoil it. But yes.
The actor who plays him is hot. He's a good-looking guy.
He's a good-looking dude.
And then people watch the show, and instead of thinking, hey, this dude is messed up, and I'm not talking about the actor itself, talking about the character here.
Yeah.
And instead of thinking like, hey, this is messed up, people go like, oh, I wish he stalked me. I wish I was the girls in the show. This would end up very differently.
No, you cannot fix a psychopath like that. I don't think that's how that works. Or with a character like Dexter from that show. I've never seen it, but I think that's like the main gimmick, and everybody knows this. Dexter's a serial killer, and people go like, yeah, Dexter is husband material. Like, really though? Really? Like,
never watched it, but you can skip it.
How do your standards work there?
Yeah.
Some people have no control of their primal desires. It doesn't matter if a guy is a murder hobo, he's hot. But yeah, it's funny to me in a way, because a lot of the times, and spoilers, that's not wrong, I think. A lot of the times you hear jokes about how horny guys can get. Like, oh, a man will fuck anything. And yeah, the jokes exist for a reason, because guys do that. But women are just as bad. Differently bad, but just as bad if you ask me. Like, we all kind of suck. Everyone wants to make an argument against letting everyone vote red as a strong contender. That should be one of the questions. Yeah. Would you think you can fix the guy that killed 12 people just for the fun of it? Yes. Your vote has been cast and it goes to nobody. No. Just no.
Gaming check, how you doing?
Welcome in, please enjoy your drink. I'm gonna take a sip with you.
But yeah.
We all kind of suck. I mean, I wanna say nobody is completely perfect and everybody does things that maybe they themselves at some point look back like, ugh, I did that? It's kind of cringe. You know, that's just part of life. And everybody has primal desires to some degree. Maybe different ones from everybody else, but everybody has something. You know? But please don't get murdered because you thought you can fix the guy or gal that committed mass murder. Because, I don't know, this time it's gonna be different. They're just misunderstood. Chances are slim.
I will change him.
It's not like when you see a video of like a feral cat over like the span of 6 months becoming a domesticated cat. That's not how humans work. I'm not saying some people can't change or will change, but nah, it will. Yeah, and then you can tell the tale when you're pushing up the daisies from the bottom.
I also want to say it really does depend on the reasoning. Like if it's someone cold-blooded, killed 20 people, laughed in court, went to jail, like can't fix that. If it's like self-defense cases, you can maybe argue about it. But I feel like there is a specific group of people that feels the need to find to that. Yeah, that are attracted to that type, and I'm not.
They don't scrape the bottom of a barrel, they check under the barrel.
Yeah. I mean, to each their own.
Can I tell you guys about the dancing classes I've been attending? No, I don't think you have.
How are they going?
I will be setting up the game. Tifa, ours about ready.
Go for it. I think there's even now a reality TV show about them.
Dating murderers?
Yeah.
Why? Oh well, somebody's gonna watch it.
Because there's a lot of people that want to.
Hey, if that show is popular and it shows you all the ways that can go wrong, and if one person survives because they don't get into a situation like this, that's a good thing.
Who knows? I'm not even going to watch, I can't tell you. Can you still see the log, by the way? No, right?
You never can.
That's now fresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The log is crush.
Crash.
Dancing classes have been going amazingly. If that's even a word, I don't speak England. Yes, it is. And I'm happy that they're going amazingly.
But sadly, no class this week. Some event where we are, as there's some event where we are usually dancing.
Alright.
Well, you can practice.
Happy having fun.
Dance by yourself.
Yeah. So like, is it called shadow dancing? Like shadow boxing? Where you do the steps?
I mean, it depends. What type of dance class do you take? Like classic, hip-hop? If it's like hip-hop, you don't need to shadow dance.
I don't know. This is not the body of a person who dances professionally. Just saying. I'm gonna look schizophrenic. I think you're looking like somebody who practices their dance moves. There's nothing wrong with that. Classic and Latino.
Oh, nice. I'm glad you're having fun with it.
That's the most important part. He may be a lover, but he ain't no dancer. There's a reason why we don't stream things like rhythm games. Just saying.
I have 4 left feet when it comes to that.
Yeah, looks like a foot to me too.
Exactly.
Waltz, mambo, jive, mazurka, a Polish dance, and many more. I've heard of some of these, and I have no idea what it looks like.
Oh.
But nice. I've always wanted to take dance lessons, but I've always considered taking dance lessons. But like when I don't have the time, and it's not so high on my list that I'm actually doing it.
Well, you can go instead of the gym.
No, not gonna happen.
They also have dance at the gym as a course.
That's good for those people, but...
Or you just do what's called Zumba.
I need to fix like the composure of my body in terms of like muscle to fat and stuff first before I consider anything else.
It's about having fun.
I don't think I would be having fun right now.
I mean, fair enough.
Maybe one day. Egg tango. Could be good.
Crash.
When I next realized that the hole had grown so deep I couldn't believe it. Did I dig all this myself? I think digging this much is enough, right? I put my shovel into the bottom of a hole. I would drag the body here, throw it into the hole and cover it up with dirt. Even if it took me time to camouflage it by putting plants on top, it would all go much more easily than digging this hole ahead. I glanced at my watch. It was almost evening and I hadn't realized it.
I would like to know how deep this hole is.
I hope at least 6 feet.
Doesn't a proper hole to bury a body need to be as deep as the shovel, at least?
I do not know.
If it's not deep enough, you risk like wild animals digging it up because they can smell it. Like foxes, small rodents probably as well.
Plus,
so it needs to be deep.
Plus, I keep thinking, if the police goes through here with like search dogs that have picked up the scent of Teppei, which I think should be easy given his alcohol and other usage, easier than, I guess, somebody who doesn't have a strong odor. They're gonna find him if he's just like super shallow, like he just sprinkles some dirt on his face.
I'm not sure how deep a grave needs to be for it to no longer, or for dogs to not be able to smell it.
As deep as you can, I would say, because I don't know the specifics and I don't care to know them. No, I'm not. Tifa, I'm not gonna Google how deep of a hole do I have to dig to make a body disappear.
No, I wanted to talk about after a few days. You might, but yeah,
no,
fine.
Shut. On behalf of everybody, I'm doing this for all of you. Shut the fuck up.
6 feet is deeper than a shovel. No, he meant 6 feet.
No, deep. I did mean deep, not wide.
Why deep?
Because 6 feet under is a phrase for people being buried.
I thought you were talking about when you said, it's better be 6 feet for length. Deep. Wait, what is 6 feet actually?
About 2 meters, Tifa.
6.
We have this conversation regularly.
Oh yeah, 182
182, not even 2 meters. Just crumple them up. Tifa's experience? I hope not. Otherwise, I look like a fool given my earlier rant about people dating murderers and then wondering why they end up getting murderized too.
Some things are better left unsaid.
I gave you the cutest your mama joke earlier, and this is how you thank me?
No, that's true. That was adorable. I will tell my mama.
Please do.
She accepts you're an artist.
I may not have felt the time passing, but digging a hole this deep must have taken quite a lot of time. I took a seat on a slanted rock nearby and wiped the sweat from my brow. Now, once it got a little darker, I'd go get the metal bat I hid in the schoolyard. Then I'd make the call to lure him out. And then I'd do it. The number of things I needed to do to reach that moment were dwindling. I felt that moment closing in on me much more keenly than I did the passage of time. I didn't have any hesitation, but I still felt a contradiction. At every step in this process, I had a few chances to hesitate, to turn back, to let myself lose my nerve. Having to endure those million temptations and wait for when the time was right was an indescribably slow and painful torture. I had thought myself acting all weak because of that, but I stopped midway through. This was okay. It was fine. I could detest the abnormal act of homicide as much as I wanted, and it didn't matter. I wasn't going to be a cutthroat killer after today. I would pass through this strange day and go back to the world I was in before. If I fell to the level of a psychopath who thought nothing of killing, I wouldn't be able to go back to my old life. So this was fine with me. I didn't have to feel ashamed at hesitating to kill, because I was human. It was so funny to me that I'd be the bearer of Oyashiro-sama's curse at the same time I was aware I was human. I exhaled lightly and stood. I concealed my presence and sharpened my senses in all directions to search for anyone around me, or for anyone around but me. Okay, let's go. One step at a time. I would walk my own path. A path no one had forced me to walk. Let's do this. Keiichi Maebara. The cicadas made an annoying fuss. The chorus covered up the suspicious noise of me breaking twigs underfoot. And the chorus filled the path far ahead of me, letting me know I would be alone for some time. The cicadas blessed the path I walked, encouraging me with every last ounce of strength they had. The cicadas, they sing for me. The sky was far above. In not even an hour the veil of night would draw near and the sky would be tinted with dusk. By that time the Higurashi would let me hear the chorus in place of the cicadas. Oh yeah, there are two different things. The Higurashi are a specific type of cicada.
Cicadas, you can do it.
You can do it.
Kill the fucker.
Murder. 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 And all the cicadas go, diggy, diggy, hole, hole, diggy, diggy, hole, hole. When that happened, would everything be over with? Would everything have ended? I said something along those lines when I left Satoko's fate up to a public agency. But this time was different. I would do it. I would carry it out. I would end it. It would all be over very soon. Everything would end. Yes, when the Higurashi cried.
They said the thing.
That's the end of the game, right? Because he said the thing. If this isn't a cut to the title again now. Okay. Yeah, see? Higurashi won the crack. That's the end of the game, right? You people said there's 8 chapters. What did I spend my money on?
Time to get the bed.
And then actually the game just ends here on a cliffhanger. And if you start chapter 4, as in you start the game, you install it, it's just a splash screen, like there's nothing else. It's just over.
Before we continue, are you crying?
Yes.
Why?
Because when I modulate my voice, sometimes that puts pressure on my tear ducts, and I don't know why, and it's always been the case.
Okay.
It's the price I'm paying for using my voice.
I cry too when you talk.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. I've worked in customer service for some time in my life, and I once had a lady on the phone. I was running her through a contract that she was about to go into with us. I told her, okay, I've got all your details, I've got everything set up, I just need to quickly create an invoice and then we can go ahead with a payment. It's gonna take a moment because of the specifics. Do you want me to put you on some music? I just put you on hold. Or do you prefer not to do that because some people hate being on hold and just listen to me mumble to myself as I write the invoice? You know, I was trying to be funny. It's called small talk. And without skipping a beat, she goes, no, actually, don't put me on hold. I really find your music horrendous. But if while you write the invoice, you could better not talk because I find your voice really grating. That'd be great.
I think you have a really nice voice.
I was like, yeah. Okay.
Now I'll just mute myself.
When I muted my microphone, and she was like, are you still there? Because you can hear the difference between being muted and somebody just not saying something. You know?
Yeah, the muted is like, you hear this and
Yeah.
complete silence.
Yes. I was like, yeah, sorry, that was just the connection. I'm still here. And then I did what I had to do. And then I said like 4 more sentences. I'll need your credit card, please. And the other number, and the other number, and the other number. Thank you. Documents will be sent to you shortly. Do you have any more questions? Bye. Bro, saying that out loud is wild. Yeah, I mean...
No filter.
I don't know what experiences this person has had in their life up until that point. But yeah, that didn't feel so good. I had to actually overcome listening to my own voice when we started streaming. Because, you know, I have to like audio checks and stuff, like sound checks.
Nobody likes the sound of their own voice though.
I got used to it now. Nobody loves their own voice, really. My problem is the voice of my voice, as I hear it with my ears, I sound sexy as fuck. That's why I don't have a problem talking for hours, because you're welcome. No, you're all welcome. I'm just saying. You know? Some people have talents. I'm gifted with this. At least that's what it sounds like to me.
You're welcome, yes.
You know, confidence.
Dude, you talk a lot. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
Do you ever stop talking? No? You're welcome.
Talking for your pleasure. Well, if it makes you sleep at night. Your voice for our ears as we hear it sounds sexy as fuck. Mommy. Thank you very much. Thank you, that is really sweet. If it was in earnest, thank you very much. If it was a lie, I appreciate the fact that you took the effort to lie to me, and I love that just as much. Thank you. And that woman, that's right, she was the Kaiser all along. She could have been, I don't know. I hope she's doing well and she has mellowed out a little bit somewhere in life.
Oh, that's so bad. And especially considering you go through the effort to use like your call center voice. Yeah. Or not your call center voice, your phone voice. Phone voice.
Where it's like half an octave higher than usual. Because if you speak for 6-8 hours a day, you find your voice where you can keep it up for that long without like hurting your vocal cords.
Yeah, you go more into this sort of sing-song.
Yeah. It sounds like you sing at some point.
Met Latifa van My Favorite Letter is X. Hoe kan ik je helpen? You go into this...
Yeah. Hi, this is My Favorite Letter is X. Jack speaking. How can I help you? You know,
yeah.
just a pinch higher.
Just a pinch.
Anyway, there was nobody at school. You couldn't hear the playful voices of children. This was the first time I'd seen the school with such a lack of human presence. And still, I quieted my breath and looked around, not wanting to be unprepared. It had gotten darker outside, but it was almost likely my eyes could see more clearly now. Almost likely?
Almost like.
It had gotten darker outside, but it was almost like my eyes could see more clearly now.
Open your eyes and
I see you. Your eyes are open. It's a beautiful song. It makes not much sense to me, but it's beautiful. I made absolutely sure of my safety, then walked to the heavy construction machine I had hidden the metal bat behind. I had a tinge of worry, a premonition that someone had found the bat and hidden it somewhere else as a prank. If that happened, would I take that as an opportunity to desist? If it really wasn't there, then the sensation of chilled metal. It was still here where I left it.
I was so sure the car would be gone.
That would have been really funny. It hadn't run away. Satoshi hadn't run away. He'd waited here patiently for me. So if ever wait, Satoshi, it's been a long time coming. You prepared for this?
Well, now he named the bat Satoshi.
Through the metallic touch, Satoshi grins at me in my mind. That's what I should be asking, you know? I did this last year already. You should be more worried about yourself. Right on, Satoshi. Let's show him a bad time. He sounds so much like a 15-year-old trying to be menacing would when they are not naturally good at sounding menacing. Like, I'm gonna show you a bad time. Like, if Batman had said it, it would still not have been menacing. Satoshi's bat got lighter and lighter and fit into my hands like it was being absorbed. It didn't feel wrong to swing this. I could move it around so naturally it was like an extension of my own right arm. Of course it felt like that. Satoshi and I were holding one bat together. Next, I would make the call to lure the man out. It wasn't a bad time for it. My friends were doubtlessly parading happily through the stalls. I hadn't considered where to make the call from. My house and Satoko's were pretty far apart. If I called from my house, I wouldn't make it. Couldn't I use the school phone? But as I thought the room was locked up and I couldn't get in. Shit. I'm so naive. You should have at least figured this part out. I couldn't call him. And just for that, was today all over? I'm sorry, Satoshi. And just as I cursed my own naivete, a miracle occurred. A bicycle came into the schoolyard. It was a familiar middle-aged man. One from the Forest Service field office. Why? Wasn't today Sunday? Was he here to pick up something he forgot? Anyway, the forest officer went back. Why can I not speak? Anyway, the forest officer went around back and felt around in his pocket, then unlocked the door and entered. The best possible coincidence, and it had to be Satoshi who saved me. The metal bat, through just my contract with it, told me this was a chance I couldn't allow to slip by. If you, or anybody you know, starts talking to a baseball bat, tell others. Get help. That ain't good. How often have you talked to metal bats before?
Maybe once or twice.
Did you get help?
Forest officer is a strange word for ranger. I feel like forest officer kind of works though.
Forest officer seems so bureaucratic, it seems almost German.
That yes.
Like, I'm not a ranger. I don't put on my ranger clothing, and when I go out into the forest to check if things are okay, I check on the trees and I check for animals and I take note. No, I am the forest officer.
Yeah, but I feel like it works as a title.
Excuse me, oak tree, do you have a permit to stand here? I did not think so. That's my German forest officer. What if it's only a wooden bat? That's okay because it's wood. Bats are racist like that. Materialist. I think that's better. Imagine an ant with glasses in an office.
That would actually be kinda cute.
That would be awesome.
That would be quite awesome.
Yeah. I think if ants were real, people would have more respect for forests.
As if they would be the first things cut down.
I love the idea of some dickweed just, going through a park or something and just smoking a cigarette, flicking it off, to the side, and then the tree just goes splat, person just squished.
I fully agree with you, but that's one of the reasons why humans would not leave them.
I just realized that was a very graphic example, and it escalated really quickly. I don't know why I straight up went there.
We like to kill things that are bigger and stronger than us.
Yeah, that's kind of a human thing somehow.
Yeah.
Oh look, there's a big animal. I'ma shoot it.
It's almost extinct. Quick, we gotta shoot it before they're gone.
So dumb. Oh, a white rhino, the last one. I want to be the last one that kills one. Congratulations, you will be in the history books as the last asshole that... Anyway.
That's how it goes.
Waldleutnant, yeah. The sections for the forest office and the school were nearly separate. What is it with me today? The sections for the forest office and the school were neatly separated. I felt the man head into the forest office's storehouse, which was so far in the back students weren't allowed into it. I felt the man head there. Okay.
Yeah, we now have super sense.
Yeah.
Because we are in sync with our body and nature.
We've expanded our mind beyond the confines of a mortal coil.
Exactly.
The door didn't match its fittings well, so it didn't close all the way, and the gap in the door opened slowly as if to lure me in. I took a deep breath and went in. I tiptoed along, silently and stealthily, and made it into the teacher's lounge. That was the only place with a phone. He sharpened his senses, as one does. Yeah, me too. Every Monday morning when I roll out of bed for the first time in the work week, it's like... As I held my breath in the teacher's lounge, I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clattered shut and was locked. I heard the Forest Service officer walking back over. Then the back door clat I glanced out the window of the schoolyard and watched as the man got on his bike like nothing had happened and rode out to the school gate. The school once again emptied, becoming deathly silent. I waited for a bit to make sure the silence was the real deal, then reached for the telephone on the principal's desk. I fished Satoko's house phone number out of my pocket. Yes, the number in the class directory for Satoko had been one from their house now, where she lived with her uncle. I touched the dial with my fingers and then thought for a moment about what to say exactly when he picked up. I love the fact that Keiichi specifies that he touched the dial with his fingers. Just in case you thought...
Just in case it was his nose or something else.
You know, one of those like rotary phones, just like 9.
I mean, it is a rotary phone.
2, 2, 8. Is it?
Yeah, yeah. You can see it.
I almost missed that.
It has the...
Yeah, the rotary part.
Exactly.
Despite how many times I'd gone over it in my head last night. Now that I had my finger on the dial like this, it started to seep out of my mind like a cracked bucket leaking water.
Don't we have one big issue here?
Tell me.
Who says Satoko already left for the festival?
That's a wonderful question.
What if she's still at home?
Yeah.
Or what if she left 2 minutes ago?
Yeah.
What if she just left?
What if he picks up a phone and goes, oh, Satoko has been hurt? He's just watching her leave.
There needs to be a reasonable amount of time for something to happen and for her to land in the hospital if he's going to go with, hey, she's in the hospital, we need you to pick up.
Yes. Imagine if you had asked Mion, hey, when are you gonna meet? And even that wouldn't be 100% foolproof because she could be delayed. You know, stuff happens. Maybe she got diarrhea. Or Teppei told her, make me more snacks for later because I'm not gonna make them myself. Plenty of things to go wrong here.
Yeah.
Simple would be best. And more importantly, to say it straight and not sound suspicious. I counted off 3 heartbeats and spun the dial. The call sound. Would Satoko's uncle pick up? Now of all times, the hope that he wouldn't pick up and the feeling of doom and the knowledge that I couldn't save Satoko if he didn't whirled around in a vortex. Oh god, double voices. Hello? It was the voice of a grumpy man like he had just woken up. He picked up. Hello? Say your name so I know you're Hojo, you asshole. It'd be terrible if I got it wrong. I made up my mind. I had all the initiative on my side. Here we go. This is the Shishibone Okonomiya police station. Am I speaking to the Hojo residents? I was changing my voice, but did he really think I sounded like an adult? Did he believe I was the police? Oh, yes. This is Hojo. We can't have your daughter, Satoko Hojo, here with us. What? Satoko? What does the brat do? He fell for it. I could tell by how tense he was that he didn't doubt my words. I can explain the particulars once you have arrived here. Would you mind coming to the station right away? Right now? I already took a bath myself, so I don't really want to go out like this, though. What? You don't want to come because you already took a bath? Yes, right away. Right away? Jeez, man, what the heck does Satoko do? I'll explain once you're here. I will be waiting. Thank you for your assistance. Nah. 1 second. I don't know where the police station is. Where am I going?
Fuck.
This is not supposed to be like an unethical life pro tip for how to commit murder. This is just a general unethical life pro tip about lying. If you lie, first of all, don't, because the truth will come out at some point. Anyway, if you're lying, think of your story. And maybe don't think of the details, but think of yourself as a character in the story. And think of everything. If you're the police, what exactly is your title? If you're the police and you ask somebody to come to you, what's the address? Nowadays, this would probably thankfully not work, because wouldn't your phone show that it's a number of a police, or even in like the caller ID that it's the police?
Yeah, now you can't. Or in here you could still hide the number. That would not work anymore, no.
Yeah, phones back then didn't show that,
But there are several issues. I mean, he could now just come up with a bullshit path like, hey, I believe you live here. There's a forest trail behind your house. Follow that. Go left. Take a right there. Blah, blah, blah. You can just suck something out of your thumb because he's not supposed to make it out of the forest anyway.
Left, right, up, down, select, start, BA.
But we want to kill him right behind his house, basically.
Yes.
We still need to get from school now to there before... What if he would now leave straight away? He hangs up, puts on his jacket, his shoes, and leaves. We would not be there before he is there.
Or if for some reason he decides to drive another way.
Or that. But we would not be there on time.
Yeah.
We're calling from school.
It's almost like Keiichi is actually a 15-year-old who's trying to act real big and bad and mature, but doesn't know shit because he's 15 years old. This is so accurate. Jack's murder tip number 6, foolproof your story.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, generally, if you ever find yourself in a position where you need to lie, make sure you can actually pull off the lie. Or do it like I do, just don't lie.
I see a few issues here.
If you don't lie, you can't be caught in a lie, and you don't have to think about the stuff you made up, because at some point you will forget. I'm too stupid to lie. You moron, what the hell? The Hinamizawa police station. I don't know where it is either. Aren't you from around here? Why don't you know that? A greasy sweat came over my body. Eventually, just as I was about to choke, he spoke. Next to the fire station, right? That's pretty far. You're gonna pay for my gas money, policeman. Gotta get your story straight, and if you can't, get your story gay. You can try that. I hope it still fails if you're trying to get away with murder. Because I don't want anybody to get away with murder.
Well, I want to say it depends on the reasons. If you ever want to commit murder, we can talk it through, and depending on that, I'll help you. Allegedly.
No, don't joke about that. The only thing I ever want to murder with you is a piece of cake that we still have in the fridge.
That's already gone.
And it's not gonna happen.
I already got away with that crime.
I think I actually watched you eat that. Cake murder, yeah. What can you do? Cake is cake, I get it. Thank goodness, he remembered on his own for me. I didn't care where the police station was, so long as he left his house to get there. And we'll be waiting here. No. Wait. Who am I asking for once I get there? What's your name? Remember why I told you if you make a big elaborate lie, have your whole story, like have a character? On top of that, he wanted to know my name? Just leave your goddamn house already! So stupid. So bad. It's John. Officer John. Police. Maebashi. Excuse me. That was close. I almost thoughtlessly told him my real name. I managed to change the last syllable of it, but I put the receiver down like I was running away. My fingers were trembling and I was soaked with a tepid sweat. I wasn't just nervous about the phone call. With that call, everything had finally been put into motion. I left the school. It was locked before, but it was easy enough to open from the inside. I couldn't lock it again after I left. In terms of being thorough, I wanted to lock it, but I couldn't waste time going back to the teacher's lounge and looking for the key. I needed to rush back as fast as I could and ambush him. Plus, how would you put the key back inside where you found it? I zoomed back to the scene on my bike. If Satoko's uncle got out of town before I got there, everything would be over. He'd learn there was no one at the station named Maebashi, and things would get pretty messed up. As I returned at full speed, I passed a family wearing yukatas. They must have been on their way to a festival. Many people in Hinamizawa knew my face, though I didn't know theirs. Even just passing by them like this made me uneasy. But I didn't generally come around here, so those living in the area might not have known much about me. That didn't matter right now. I needed to get back as fast as possible, to control my breathing and to ambush the man. I love, in a way, how we have this contrast between Keiichi going 1500 seconds. That's how long he still has to live if I decide to go right now and kill him. To, whoops, I forgot what to say on the phone. People saw me on my bike cycling there. I'm not gonna get away with this, am I? Yeah.
Well...
It's beautiful. Wasn't it here, the boxer face tattoo, he was in The Hangover. Bit off a guy's ear. Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Mike Tyson that once said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face? It's kind of like that, except it's not a physical punch, it's just reality. You are not prepared. You are not prepared for this.
Yeah, he planned this in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It just felt longer, but it's
so sure of himself, so full of himself. Yeah, I'll just get my bike and then I'll zoom over there and then I get a shovel and it's that easy. No, there's a million different things.
Basically, yeah. Also, before we continue, how about a short break?
Can do. Then I will hide my bike in a thicket later.
Take some time to hide it.
Because a thicket too thick, the trick is to pick it apart with a stick. How come I can do your tongue twister just fine, but I couldn't read my lines?
But we only have a bat.
Isn't a bat also a stick?
No, because it's metal.
I
think the definition of a stick has to be wood.
It can be a metal stick.
Okay.
Every bat is a stick, but not every stick is a bat. And I will leave you with that philosophical conundrum, but I didn't, but just pretend it is. I will leave you with that during the break.
BRB. We're back.
Did you just... Ew. Ew, why she make that sound?
I had a piece of garlic stuck between my teeth.
We quickly carved up for the murder marathon that's about to happen. We had some leftover pasta that we had from dinner. And Tifa is making all the nice eating sounds that people appreciate you making into their ears.
Sorry.
It's
it's the getting ready for murder sounds.
Mm-hmm. Smack my lips I hid my bike in a thicket and picked up Satoshi's bat, which I had just left hidden in the shade. So nice that he left it in the shade, not the sun, so that it's nice and cool to touch. And then I held my breath waiting to see someone. I wondered if he still hadn't gotten here. Or maybe he went right out after the phone call and passed by here already? I couldn't figure out which it was and was set upon by an indescribable impatience. Calm down, Keiichi Maebara. Even if he came here already, he'd pass by here on the way back, right? The end result would be the same. It wouldn't change the fact that he'd die. He'd probably be coming on his motorcycle. How would I stop him then? I figured it would be best not to think too hard and just hit him as he passed or beat him out of his seat. I've seen in a bunch of action movies people getting hit with like wooden beams and baseball bats and other things off of a motorbike, but isn't there also recoil?
Like, yeah, I think that will hurt you as well. Also, this is not really a path where you would go through with your motorcycle.
Yeah, I was thinking that last time already, but
I thought he was going to walk past.
And especially no motorbike, because the path was made of pebbles. If I hit him as hard as I could and made him lose his balance, he wouldn't be able to help falling. If the path is made of pebbles, I don't think anybody would ride over there with a motorbike. Not if they don't have to. And then
Tomitake.
The chorus of a Higurashi stopped. The sound of a bike approached from far away. I couldn't tell what sort of motorcycle it was from its sound, but I'd seen it parked before, so I'd know. It was getting rapidly closer. It was almost here. If he just went a little farther, he'd cross into that thicket and appear in front of me. I'd take a moment to make sure it was him. Then when I had, I'd put my plan into action. Is it gonna be the wrong person?
I think it might. All of this, it has to be.
Is he gonna kill Coach?
No, Coach had a car. Well, that doesn't mean anything.
He doesn't also have a motorcycle. Or what if it's Tomitake?
Yeah.
What? Oh my god. I'm now going full
but he's
all the things that could go wrong. Fuck taking a moment. With all this stuff in your head and you thinking, okay, move like this, jump out like that. I don't think you're just gonna take a second to realize.
No, but seeing how Tomitake has been the usual victim, it would kind of make sense if he now gets killed.
What if it's Tomitake and he's one of those people that don't even wear a proper helmet when they're riding a bike?
Well, press A.
The motorcycle appeared. A few easily identifiable characteristics told me it was Satoko's uncle's bike without a doubt. Was it really him? Was it really Satoko's uncle? I wasn't making a mistake, was I? I looked at its characteristics again. Its color, shape, and most of all, the man's clothes and face. Those last feelings of hesitation, I did away with them. Satoko, now your Nini will end it, okay? Closer, closer, the bike came closer. Let's go. Satoshi? Yeah. Whoosh. I jumped out of a thicket. I used my shoulders to basically tackle the uncle on the bike with all my might. I hope that's actually Teppei and not just Keiichi's perception that it's Teppei, because we also just had Satoshi say something. I'm just saying, we're clearly experiencing this from the mind of Keiichi Maebara.
You have a point.
He gave a dumb shout as his bike completely lost its balance. Finally, it fell, the bike scattering clouds of sand, and after spinning, it stopped. Her uncle, tossed to the ground, didn't understand what had just happened and groaned for a few moments, crouched on the ground. My breathing started to become ragged. No, I couldn't have this emotion. Some weird secretion crossed through my brain and nearly made me hallucinate. Her uncle was groaning. Now was for once in a lifetime opportunity. What was I doing? All the sounds in the world cut off. My mental chaos from a moment ago withdrew like a lie, and I could feel the temperature in my head rapidly cooling down. The tension in my muscles all went away like the strings that had been attached to had been cut, and I let my hands dangle at my sides. It wasn't quite like exhaustion. Have you calmed down now, Keiichi Maebara? Do you need to remember again why things got to this point today?
Scrape. Scrape.
I stepped over the pebble path, taking one step, another step, and another towards Satoko's uncle. The more I walked, the more my breathing calmed. The more I walked, the more I felt my body cooling, calming, chilling with frost. Yes, at this moment, this guy had lost permission to live. Can't you be like... I had just rescinded it. So he mustn't stay in this world any longer. If he lived any longer, if Satoko's misfortune continued, it would be my responsibility for having allowed him to live. I could feel the cooling substance going through my whole body, even down to my capillaries. Her uncle was at my feet now, still on the ground like an idiot. I smiled coldly at how ridiculous he looked. That hurt. That's all it took for it to hurt. Satoko's heart hurt much more, and now you're gonna feel that. And with your life, I'll make up for her pain.
Yes, let's still have the villain 20-hour talk before we actually get to it. Now we go through our life story.
Going to be lurking because I'm hanging out with Olivia. Hello, Ranger. Thank you for doing so. Hope you're doing well. But I wanted you to know that Olivia loves the narration reading for the Baby Yoshi playthrough on YouTube.
Aww,
and that, Tifa, is why we read all the text boxes, everything. For Olivia Olivia.
Olivia wasn't waiting for the question mark boxes.
Yes, that's why I do it. If nobody else cares, that's cool. But that's why I do it.
Thank you very much, Ranger. Have fun with Olivia.
Yes. Did you know that Olivia spelled backwards is race car? Alright.
I need a moment.
You waited until Tifa took a sip, you monster.
I know, right?
I did not consider that at all. I'm sorry. I should have. Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to murderize you with water coming out through your nostrils if anything goes wrong. But I realized every other time Ranger pops in when we're playing a game like this, he does the race car line. And now I was able to do it, and now I see why you do it, Ranger. It feels more fun when you get to do it yourself.
Thank you, Ranger.
Thank you. And you're welcome. You got to hear it with my sexy voice. Okay, murder. People, serious moment. I still think this is not tapping. I erased all unnecessary information from my mind. I prioritized the murder of this man. Execute, execute, execute.
Wham!
Utterly calmly, I delivered my first strike to the back of his head. I wanted to get at the most effective spot, at least during that first moment. I'd have to attack him while he was at his most defenseless. Actually, no, that was bad. What does somebody sound like when they're laying on the ground and have been hit in the back of the head?
Nah, probably not even that loud. Ow. Nani?
I've thankfully never been in a situation where I've been hit in the head like that, so... Sorry. Ranger, thank you for the look if you can still hear this. And if he was hit in the head, he'd cover his head. It was a defensive reaction all humans made, like machines. He used both hands to cover his head so he couldn't pick himself up off the heap he was in on the ground. Like pounding a caterpillar into the dirt, I hit him over and over. If he covered his head, I'd hit him in the side. If he covered his body, I'd go for his head. If he rolled over, I'd strike his feet, his knees, his elbows. I didn't care where anymore. By just delivering one blow after another, I induced panic in him. I retained my overwhelming advantage, but I hadn't done nearly enough to deliver a fatal wound. You're better at death screams. Her uncle skillfully pulled himself up off the ground and started to run like a fleeing rabbit. It wasn't a judgment he'd made after seeing my face and deciding whether to fight me. Right now he was fleeing by instinct, just trying to escape from the threat that had presented itself. A counterattack from the more physically capable uncle was what I was most concerned about. He may have run, but it wasn't all that unlucky. And the odds were in my favor.
He started running towards the grave.
And, oh my god, when he stumbles, breaks his neck, falls in, crumples up.
That would be the best case scenario, wouldn't it?
Easy peasy tepe squeezy.
I'm just wondering how bad we are at hitting after so many hits.
I was thinking the same thing.
He still managed to get up and run off.
I mean, two things could be happening. A, we don't know if he's wearing a helmet. That's not been mentioned.
Assume no, because
Also,
that would have been mentioned.
Also, I don't recall if in one of the previous episodes in this chapter, Keiichi actually got to see Teppei. We heard him because I remember reading his lines, because I remember angsting about what voice to give him, but I don't remember there being character art. And maybe that's another clue to this not being Teppei.
Character art, no, but he was outside and we were talking to him. So we have seen him.
I think there's a reason why we didn't get to see him back then and why we didn't get to see him now, because this isn't Teppei.
Yeah, it could be.
Not sure they had art for Teppei in this chapter.
No, they didn't. Not so far,
Not so
at
far,
least.
yeah. The uncle didn't run away towards people, but off the path and into the woods. How pleasant that he would have run in a direction where nobody else was. He was fleeing into strange geography like a rat that instinctively runs into tight spots over and over. Yes, he was no longer human. He was a rat. The blood vessels in my leg expanded and my total oxygen supply increased. I lowered myself to gain the most explosive velocity I could. Without breathing, I became a wind-like shadow and dashed. I crossed thickets, crushed dead tree branches underfoot and dove through the woods like a bullet. He ran so cowardly, arms flailing as he went. After catching up to him, I didn't need so much as a blink of an eye to strike him again. My senses, mind and body were all sharpened purely to kill this man. This was the first time I'd felt like this. Well, this was the first experience I'd ever had killing someone. It felt natural continuing to do this for the first time. And that meant I had this much talent for killing. Or perhaps the act of killing was so simple that anyone could do it. I didn't struggle or grow tired at all chasing the clumsily fleeing uncle. No matter how much he ran, it was like trying to get away from his own shadow. He couldn't get away from me. I could easily aim at his back, his shoulder and his head even from this unnatural stance. Each time I struck him, he wailed in pain and begged pitifully for forgiveness, but it didn't disturb my mind. I was neither excited nor plagued by hesitation like before. I felt sharp. I felt like a carnivore. Of course, so did the uncle who was trying to run away because he didn't want to die. He didn't want to be eaten, like a herbivore running with all his might trying to get away. Despite all the attacks, despite all the hits, he kept on fleeing without even staggering. And despite the bad footing in the forest, he impressively never tripped over anything. But there was no need to admire that fact. It was simply proof that he was no more than an animal. If he was chased, he would run. If he was going to be killed, he would run. He bared his fangs at the weak but couldn't oppose the strong whatsoever. He was lowly, vulgar, a diminutive animal. Such a puny little creature had harmed Satoko. Scar after scar to her body and mind, deep wounds that might not ever go away as long as she lived.
What?
I need your help with the... Oh. Ah. My cold and calm emotions suddenly turned into bestial ones. My personality changed into something specialized for murder, purely to devour the diminutive animal before me. The uncle gave a puny little shriek, covered his head and ran. I'm impressed by how much you can run. Fine, run as much as you like. I will be your death. I will choose the moment at my leisure. Your legs will hurt, your lungs will feel about to burst, your head will hurt from lack of oxygen. If you feel the pain has become worse than death, then by all means stop anytime. Without turning back, suffocating on his terror of the approaching death, he just ran shamefully forward. He ran but was chased, his head bashed with a metal bat, sweat and drool flying everywhere, blood clinging to him. From his mouth came the sounds of coarse, irregular breathing and high-pitched screaming that verged on crying. And pleas for forgiveness to someone I didn't know who. Each and every second was a second of atonement that I granted him. Now, run! Then fall and moan and die! Where did you even crawl out of anyway? You were never here before. If you were never here, you never should have showed up. If you never showed up, our lives would still be fun and enjoyable. We would have gone on today's festival, waited for each other and gone to the shrine, laughing. We would have been playing amongst the stalls right about now. We'd be browsing the strange food stalls you only saw at festivals, trying to get prizes from goldfish scooping, ring throwing or target practice. Mion would surely make it into a competition and we, as a club, would have a grand time. And everyone would have been cheering for Rika-chan's dedication dance, and everyone would say how fun it was and would give us energy for days to come. Fun, enjoyable and funny, warm times spent with friends. And that would have happened, but it didn't, and now it was all smashed to pieces. There was no doubt that would be what the world was like if you never showed up. You were the obstacle, the mistake, the heresy in that world. But I would correct that mistake now. I would erase you and make it so that the last week never happened. Tonight was Watanagashi Festival, the holy night where taking just one life was permitted in the name of Oyashiro-sama's curse. It looked like the Higurashi stopped crying at some point. When the Higurashi cried, everything would end. And the Higurashi silenced. The lonely one. The hour of atonement is at an end. The Higurashi have stopped their crying, thus this is the end. The end, the end, the end, the end! You don't have to run away anymore. Die with those dirty brains of yours smashed everywhere. There we go. Lightning and thunder struck like an explosion. It was so loud it shook the ground and I smelled gunpowder. The response I got this time was clearly different from the one before. The metal bat crunched into the crown of his head. It was like the top of his head had caved in. The bat felt like it was biting him. Real quick, and also to give my voice a second to recover. Quick Rorschach test. I see a mouse in the middle.
I was considering poodle or mouse, but it has a mouse head on a poodle body.
Yeah, with the little like splotches above the vat visited, it looks like it could have been a poodle that went to one of those like dog grooming places and it got like really thin legs.
Yeah.
But only at the front. That mouse Pokemon from Scarlet Violet.
Oh yeah, the one that evolves into the family, you know?
Mousehold.
Tender
mouse and Mousehold.
Tender mouse.
Yeah, kind of. Oh my god, it's a tender mouse with a baby tender mouse.
Above it is a turkey with a turtle shield. It has more of a turkey head.
Oh, true.
It's a turkey head with a turtle.
It's the Koopa boss from Yoshi's Island. When it gets all big and has the creepy face, and when it comes for you.
That kind of works. And next to it is a turkey or a chicken. Yeah.
It's a chicken trying to fly. It's got the leaning forward and then the wings behind it.
A very straight up standing turkey.
Yeah. Top right.
Or chicken.
Top right is a frontal shot of those bee helicopter robots from the intro stage of Mega Man X.
Oh, I don't see that. I was thinking Cookie Monster with a Giga Chat chin.
I don't see that. So what does that say about us? There you go. Please psychoanalyze us.
I'm glad we see mostly the same in everything.
Yeah, no, that works.
I mean, it's a very obvious sort of panel.
Yeah, I mean, these have to be the right answers, right?
Yeah.
Can you win a Rorschach test? Is that a clear answer to these things?
No, but I think you can lose it.
You can lose it during it too. Custom ASMR, what?
You can have it.
Cookie Monster with a Giga Chat chin. I hope that was to your liking.
Kind of works, like, because you say there's no mouse on the screen, so the two balls at the top are the eyes. The rest is like a graffiti background. Then you have the face here. Obviously, the right bit is his mouth slightly open, and then
like the eyes are like above the face, kind of like a comic style, and there's like munching like from the side, like
yeah,
like
exactly.
Like
it's
this.
A sideway, and then he's in front of some graffiti background.
Alright, I'll take it.
Okay, but I would have enjoyed this scene, by the way, now that we got distracted, if it once again wouldn't have been dragged out. Because all I'm sitting here like, okay, he now hit him for 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 times. Like, how often can you hit someone with a baseball bat on his head before something...
Infinite amount of times if you're weak.
Starts cracking.
Not if you're weak, but if you're not strong enough to deliver the killing blow at once.
Understand, we have to get into the Keiichi becoming the hunter and enjoying the chase here. But
also, I think like this was deliberate too, because didn't Keiichi at multiple points go like, I'm gonna torture you before I kill you? Like, I'm gonna make you feel the pain that Satoko has felt? So I don't think the idea ever was, I'm just gonna go one-hit kill. It was always to torture him first and then murder.
Yeah, but even then, I got annoyed at how long this dude could keep running.
Well, it's either that Keiichi is not physically strong enough to do it faster, or it was on purpose. I think it was on purpose.
I think it was on purpose, otherwise you couldn't fit all the text in, I suppose, in that moment. Like now we got to see him enjoy the hunt, basically.
Yeah, also his descent into madness, because this whole like, I'll just be normal after this. I'll just quickly kill this guy and then it will just be, wipe my hand. That's not gonna happen.
But all I'm hearing is the beats in the background, the thumping of where we hit him, and it's like, okay, 20, 21, he's still running. Nope, still running.
Wasn't to kill, it was to inflict pain.
Oh.
Still waiting for the twist, but it wasn't happening.
Tomitake makes the most sense. It's someone else.
It had been the final killing attack that visited him. When I didn't overlook the opening, he left as his knees gave out under him. I remained alert for a few moments, and then...
Tut.
He planted both knees in the ground, and then fell forwards, burying his head in the ground.
Wait, if we smacked in his forehead... Wait, how does that work?
We smashed his skull in.
Yeah, we smashed his skull in. In his forehead, he was running away, so it couldn't technically have been his forehead.
Yes.
But now he
turned
was...
around. You know, when you're trying to plead with your would-be murderer for mercy, you usually face them. You don't go, please stop killing me. At least I think. I've never been in this situation. I cannot tell, but you smashed his head open and he fell over. Also, it doesn't matter where. He just watched him like fall to his knees and then fall over.
Yeah, I guess.
I've been holding back my ragged breathing, but Now it all came out of me like a dam bursting. My head was dizzy and light, and unable to maintain my balance, I leaned against a nearby tree. The uncle didn't try and guard his head any longer. After a disgusting sort of spasm, he stopped moving. Did I get him? Did I get him for sure? I fought back my exhausted urge to fall over where I stood and drew towards him carefully, bat still at the ready. It was possible he was faking it and trying to wait it out. Should I check for a pulse? I realized right away, though, how unnecessary that would be. If I thought he might be faking it, then I would just have to keep pummeling him until I was satisfied. I fought back my ragged breathing again. Then I swung my bat far above and brought it down.
I think a clunk would ruin it.
His body leaped like a bow, but he didn't try and cover his head. Then, once again, I aimed for his head and swung. His reaction was the same this time. After spending a few moments making his head into mochi, the hits gradually started to feel different and started to spray a filthy dark red liquid everywhere.
There's a long trail of blood and brain now.
Also, right quick, for people that have never had the pleasure of watching somebody make mochi. The traditional way is that you get like 3-4 people. One person, and this is the bravest person in the group, I want to argue, has to keep their hands wet and fold the dough over and over. And the other people got like this wooden hammer thing, and they keep hammering away at the dough. And like every time it gets flat, the person that doesn't have a mallet to hammer the mochi has to quickly like do this motion so that the dough becomes like a blob again, and then they just keep fucking it up.
That like, can look very interesting because you can tell people who've done it for a while go at such a speed where I would have lost all of my fingers
crazy.
already.
It is a matter of rhythm, yes, and I would get that wrong, and then I wouldn't have hands anymore because everyone would look like...
You only need to miss one beat.
Yes, stop, hammer time. Tepe, tepe. I feel like mochi again.
You can buy some next week.
That was enough. That was definite no. I had absolutely killed him. There was no sense of accomplishment, nor one of regret. I didn't feel anger towards Satoko's uncle, nor pity towards Satoko herself. Instead, right now, I was feeling like my heart had been stolen by the downpour. It had begun to rain at some point, and how comfortable it felt. The rainwater drenched my body and dripped down to the ground. The excitement within me faded as the rain washed away the grime. In exchange, my shoes were so wet they made sploshing sounds.
It's gonna be hard to fill up that hole now.
And despite abusing Satoshi's bat like that, it wasn't bent very much. There were a few dents in it, probably from hitting the man, but nothing that would make it seem different from before. Instead, it had been stained with black, with red, with mud and blood. But that itself would be evidence. One piece of evidence needed to prove that my delusions hadn't just been daydreams and that I had ended Satoko's uncle for all eternity. Alright, Keiichi. Calm your mind. The time for passion is over. Now is the time to be cold as ice. I needed to bury the body. But where was I? I simply followed the man as far as he ran into the darkness. I couldn't take a guess as to how far we'd run. It was already pitch black around us, and the only light I had to go on was the very faint lights on the road a little further down. It was so dark out. I hadn't noticed the darkness until just now. My vision was so good I could see the man's ugly hairline. I could have counted the pores on his head. It was only now that I realized how much crazy strength I had mustered at that moment. I went over to the streetlight. I looked up and down the road, desperately trying to figure out where I was. This is... oh no. This was the one road connecting Hinamizawa to the town. We were unbelievably far away from Satoko's house. Had the two of us really run so far a distance? My surprise at that was accompanied by knowledge of the miraculous fact that despite running so far and making so much noise, we hadn't come across anybody at all. It was a long way between here and the ambush location where I dug the hole.
Then we're running this 1 kilometer long path, and we come past all of these groups of people that we don't see in our panic and in our blood rage.
Because we're all like, waka, 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 waka.
And the rest just standing there like, what the fuck is happening?
Adrenaline is a hell of a drug. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. People can do crazy things when they're just hopped up on adrenaline.
But that's also what's so annoying. Look at how far this dude managed to run.
Yeah, because Keiichi was all like, I'm a carnivore. You are a plant eater. I'm gonna play with my food. Yeah. Just has done the deed, you know. Again, I don't condone any of this. I understand why it's happening. I don't like it. But yeah, so much for your plan, Keiichi.
That's a long way he now has to drag the body.
Yes, and that's a long way for the blood and the gore to be spread around the place. Maybe not properly wash away during the heavy downpour. There will be tracks from dragging the body all the way.
Maybe his clothes that get stuck on some branches, leaving all of the evidence.
He probably has blood and whatever else also on his clothing. Beautiful, Keiichi. You thought of everything. Best laid plans of mice and men gang aft a glade.
I have no clue what you're trying to say, but sure. What you said.
You had me in the first half, and I don't know if that's a quote from something. It sounds very poetic. If this wasn't a quote, Dark Lord, do you smell burnt toast? A Scottish saying, often go wrong. That's Scots. Okay, I did not know. I only know 2 Scottish things from... What's the show?
Outlander.
Outlander.
Dinner can.
Dinner can.
Dinner fash.
And dinner fash. Dinner fash is don't fret, don't be scared. And dinner can is I don't know. And that's all the Scottish you need. All the Scottish I picked up from that show. Oh, and Slantje.
Oh yeah.
Which have I said that before? I don't know. When we watched this, I thought, because I didn't know when they cheers each other and say Slantje. The very first time I heard, I was like, "What are you watching, Tifa?" He's like, "Outlander." I'm like, "What is happening? Can you go back? What's happening in the scene?" She's like, "They're drinking." I'm like, I was in the other room and I thought the guy said slut shame. Like, how does that make sense?
I'll toast to that.
I very much misheard. There was no way I could carry the body that far. Wait,
What a segue.
aside from that, the bike the man took here was still laying in the middle of a path. That would be an issue. The police could tell whose motorcycle it was by looking at its license plate. And they wouldn't just leave it at that. Thankfully, the corpse was in a dark forest. In terms of urgency, dealing with a bike would come first. I think dealing with a body should come first.
Yeah, but the bike is in an open path where people might cross. The body is somewhere where no one will probably see it immediately.
Wait, Slantje is Irish. I thought the guy in the show is Scottish.
I forgot which side he's on.
Have I been lied to? Did they get the language?
He's probably Irish. The Scottish are the bad guys in this one, I think.
It's
Or
also
not.
Scottish too.
It's been too long.
You bamboozler, you. You had me there.
They take forever to get those seasons out.
Read the books.
At least on Netflix. No, it's not something I'm interested in reading.
Then why you watch all the shows?
But just because I'm interested in reading something doesn't mean I'm interested in watching it or vice versa.
V what?
Keep going with your...
Vice versa?
Yeah.
Vice versa.
It's Dutch.
Sounds like a Finnish band.
No, that's Dutch.
And I wanted to get the shovel back from where I'd left it next to the hole. I shouldn't drag the body there. I would have to deal with it right here. Fortunately, the ground was like mud from the downpour and was more sludgy here than where I was before. I might be able to dig a grave quickly here.
Quickly. You spent an entire day digging the other hole.
Of course, my bicycle was still over where I'd left it too. It still wasn't over. Homicide had only been half of my goal. The other half would be just as important as the first. I would completely hide the body, not allowing a beginning to happen. I would erase the man like he'd never existed and regain the peaceful times we had before. I bent my head backwards and calmed my mind even further. The big water droplets struck my brow mercilessly. I'm giving you the 4D Higurashi experience.
Why, thank you.
They were actually quite comfortable, and for a while I let my desire have its way. After confirming that I was sharp again, I started running through the rain.
Now all the way back again.
Vriska Volga. Could be.
You're a Vriska Volga.
Could be a whiskey type. The motorcycle was in the grass at the roadside. Considering how it looked, pelted with rain and covered in mud, it actually seemed like it had been lying there for a very long time. The plan was to drop the motorcycle into the swamp. The swamp was a bit of a walk from here. Keiichi doesn't know how heavy motorbikes are, does he? Because they're heavy.
Yeah, but getting it up shouldn't be too hard, and seeing how the key is in, he can...
The only way I can make the following sounds is if I fully commit to the act, so I need a prop. The prop is Tifa. I lifted the bike up. I didn't think it would be so heavy. I was a little surprised. But once I had it upright, it was fairly easy to roll it along. Still, pushing this thing all the way to the swamp was really not something I wanted to do. I could no longer ignore my exhaustion, and it warned me numerous times of how far away the swamp was. This motorcycle, I wonder if I could ride it well enough. Once I got it going, it would be basically the same as a bicycle. Wouldn't it get me to the swamp quickly?
If anything, bring it back home.
Is he? Look, I mean, I understand because I've blamed Tifa multiple times for this, but background images are just there to give you a general idea. I would die motorbiking on this track, on this path. It's way too narrow for me to go on a motorized vehicle. A plan suggested by my exhaustion, the anxiety at getting on a motorcycle for the first time withdrew. I turned the key, and then you just kick this pedal, right? Yeah. It's on! And then I gripped the handlebars, first the right, then the left. Wah! Maybe I twisted them too much, the bike lurched and did a wheelie like an angry horse. I lost it for a second, but it was just a problem of how much torque to apply. Let's try that again. This time, slowly, gently. That time it went well. It was strange to be on a two-wheeled vehicle that would go even if I didn't pedal. Very odd, but I got used to it quickly. Leon once told me you could get a scooter license within a day, and she was clearly right. This was pretty easy. You can get a license like that in a day? I want to say over here that still takes weeks because you need to learn all the theory, like what the different like signs and stuff mean. I needed to throw the metal bat into the swamp too. I didn't know how I would pack the bat onto the motorcycle. Not much of a choice, I stuffed it into the back of my shirt, feeling like a ninja carrying a katana. I've done that so many times as a kid.
What? Stuffing?
Stuffing something in the back of my shirt, and like Leonardo from the Turtles, like swing. Usually it would get stuck because, you know, I can't really pull that far up, more to the side. I put the tip down the seat of my pants and hunched over, it wouldn't fall out. Got back on the bike and this time got going without any difficulty. carefully pressed the button labeled light, and a rather strong light came on, illuminating the way forward. I probably really shouldn't have turned it on, but I didn't have any way of seeing at this point and had zero confidence I could ride through this darkness. As the rain came down on me, I maintained a precarious balance and inched my way towards the swamp. Along the way, I ran across a few people who seemed to be returning from a festival. But none of them had any interest in me. They were either all soaked through with the rain and hurrying on their ways home, or had their umbrellas low and their hats down. Yesterday I might have been wary of even these passerby, but right now it didn't seem to be much cause of concern. The adrenaline is gone from my mind.
Well, if it's pouring as hard as they make it believe, no one would pay attention to him at all.
But right now it didn't seem to be much cause for concern. In fact, it would probably be less suspicious to be riding out in the open like this instead of sneaking around. More and more, though, I started to think that idea is naive, brought on by my exhausted state. I climbed a steep hill. On a bike, the hill would have put me out of breath, but I just had to accelerate a little bit to climb the entire thing. Motorcycles sure are convenient. For a moment, its lights illuminated a sign before I passed by it. Onigafuchi Swamp. Good children do not play around here. Still, it wasn't like the way to the swamp was cordoned off by a metal fence or anything. Parents and teachers would get mad at you if they found out you were playing at the swamp, but some of the bad kids in my class apparently snuck out here sometimes to see the giant crayfish in the place. Wait, I thought... Now I'm being confused. It's an actual swamp now. Because previously, the way they described it always seemed like... You know the bogs in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? Mm. Where if you take like 5 steps into them, you just die because you will drown?
Well, we only saw like one little bit of the swamp. This super tiny bit.
I really thought it's just like a big circular hole in the ground with like a swamp. I didn't think it would be a whole area. I don't know. That's a picture in my mind.
Fair enough.
I talked before about how I'd go to the candy shop and buy some pickled squid, then just tie it to a fishing line and throw it, and all the crayfish would come running. Once I get up to the bank, there was a tiny ritual shrine and traditional ropes on one of the trees.
I used to like doing that, but with crabs and chicken.
You threw the crabs at chickens?
Yes.
That's mean.
The other way around.
You threw a chicken at a crab. What is this, Pokemon?
Yeah.
Go, Clucky! Use wing attack!
Oh, I'd take like a chicken breast, cut it into tiny pieces with a fishing line, and then go crab fishing.
And then you ate all the crabs?
No. Of course not. I don't like crab. Then you pour the bucket back into the water and then you see them all scatter back.
Oh, so effectively it's feeding crabs with extra steps.
Yeah.
You give them a piece of raw chicken, and in return you get to put them in a bucket for a bit, and then you put them back.
And you throw them back.
Do crabs like being in buckets all like stacked on top of each other?
No, probably not.
But you gave them chicken.
But they did get chicken, and I put some in the bucket too.
Food? Anxiety at why a giant is suddenly picking me up and holding me in the air in a place where I should never be as a crab. But chicken. Yeah, I don't know about that. And as it swallowed the downpour hole, the blackened swamp had waited for me. If I slammed on the accelerator from the cliff-like stop I was on now, the thing would fly straight into the middle of the swamp. I had to be careful not to fall in with it. If I drowned and disappeared, man, what a stupid ghost story that would be. On the night of Watanagashi, Satoko's uncle's corpse was found in the thicket by the road leading to town, and Keiichi Maebara went missing. People would whisper that I'd been demoned away. The 5th year's curse would be a half-baked one. I got off a bike and twisted the accelerator as hard as I could. I let go just when it seemed like it would drag me forward. 100%, if I did that, it would rip out my arm. Because I would get stuck somehow, and then it would just like, either my arm would come clean off at the shoulder and just fly along.
That sounds like
or
you.
Or it would be like completely dislocated.
Both sound like you.
Yeah. The bike shot off of a cliff and was swallowed down into the swamp, leaving a far fainter splash than I'd imagined. Its surface was being pummeled by the downpour, and the muddy, filthy water was flowing into it. I couldn't even make out the motorbike I'd just thrown in there. It was pretty heavy after all. It would be quickly engulfed by the soft mud at the bottom of a swamp, and it would be pulled deeper and deeper until it reached hell itself. I felt no reluctance whatsoever in throwing the man's motorbike down the land to the demons, down to the land of the demons. But I did have a tinge of regret about Satoshi's bat. I washed the bat with muddy water, and the gore sticking to it came off easily. I had sort of shared today's events with Satoshi, so I wanted to give it a quiet place to stay. That's how I felt. I started to feel more like returning it to the locker from before, so it could continue to keep watch over Satoko. Satoshi? I probably, misunderstood you. Satoshi listened quietly without nodding. I'm absolutely convinced now. You were the one who beat you on to death last year and saved Satoko. I always scorned you and called you a coward who ran away, but I was wrong. To the rest of the world, some deviant was behind that incident. But I know that was something you did for her. And then you disappeared. You finally got back that peace and lost it within days. So I swear to you that I will live life to the fullest from now on. Live it well enough for the both of us. I will live on as though this week, this day, never happened. But I will never forget the short time we shared together for as long as I live. I didn't know what expression Satoshi made as he listened, but as someone who had protected the same girl, I felt he had smiled and given me his blessing. And then, my hand moved of its own accord, and the bat I had hesitated to throw away left my hands and flew through the air.
I probably would have thrown it a bit further up or further down, not at the same place as the bike, but...
Yeah.
Just
same.
to have them separated.
Yeah. Also maybe not in the swamp then. It traveled its parabolic path, spinning all the while, and the swamp absorbed it without a sound. There weren't even any ripples when it hit the surface. The surface was tempestuous because of the downpour, and the bat was long gone. For a moment I regretted having thrown it, but I realized that might have been what Satoshi had wanted.
It didn't leave a single ripple because he thought it fell in the water, but he threw it so hard. He threw it so hard it landed on the other side. Yeah. Now it's just laying in the grass.
Bank. Or there's like a big stone or something under the surface, so it's just like, you know, it's just resting there, like stuck in there, like Excalibur.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I still can't let myself give in to emotion just yet. I would return for my shovel, get on my bike, dig a hole to hide the body, and bury it. It seemed like a simple sequence of events, but I felt extremely exhausted, and I had to do it all tonight. Satoshi left me with only the advice that I needed to finish this up soon. Then fell silent for eternity and disappeared at the bottom of a demon's abyss. I returned to the path I had ambushed her uncle on. Oh, you're scratching. You moved super weird. Like something was attacking you or stuff?
What?
It's weird for you to sit up completely straight. I'm just not used to it.
Oh.
But I should actually, for my bike. My bike was hidden.
And don't forget, he also has to close up the other hole he dug. Which looks suspicious as fuck as he leaves it open.
Yes. There's also, you know, him wearing all of the bloody stuff still, probably. Honest Psycho has redeemed Tifa. No, that's
but
for Tifa.
For Jack.
No. I don't need a command like this because my posture is actually pretty good. But thank you, I shall sit straight. Out of my own volition and not because you made me. But you should sit like a human.
I am.
If humans were sacks of potatoes, maybe. My bike was hidden, sleeping in the brush, so I stood back up. My whole body felt heavy. But I needed to finish by the end of the day, even if I had to whip myself to do it. Oh, I forgot something. I didn't just come here for my bike. The shovel was here too. Not good. I was zoning out. Every once in a while, if I let my guard down, my vision would almost go black. Pull yourself together, Keiichi Maebara. It's still not over. I went into the grove of trees and looked for a hole in which I had hidden the shovel. Unfortunately, I had hidden it deep in the forest, not wanting it to be seen. Now everything was black in the night and I couldn't see anything anymore. I reawakened my fading consciousness and realized just how big this annoyance really was. Wait, you can't be serious. The sweat the rain washed away before came back up on my skin. Deep, deep in the forest where the streetlights could never reach. The fact that it would be so pitch black had been completely uncalculated. With this much darkness, even I had been able to kill him right away like I'd planned. I didn't know if I still could have buried him without a problem.
He wasn't planning on torturing him, he just sucks on hitting. Or sucks at hitting.
He sucks on hitting.
He sucks at hitting.
What should I do? I simply couldn't find the shovel tonight. If I forced myself to go deep into the forest, I'd lose even my sense of direction and might actually get lost in there. That might have been an exaggeration, but it was fully possible I'd trip over a tree root and sprain a muscle. Oh right, my house's storage room. There was another shovel there, the same fold-up kind. Couldn't I go back to the house, get the shovel and give up on finding the shovel tonight? It's not as though the name Maebara is written on the shovel, but it seemed like an unusual item from an import variety store made in another country, so I didn't want to leave that shovel here. But in this darkness, I couldn't do anything. I should give up and go back to the storage room. And there was an electric lantern in there. If I used that for light, I could look for it. But it was so extremely dark. Could I light the way with just the lantern? The light of a lantern in this dark night. I couldn't discard the possibility of it drawing eyes. And I doubted if I could find the shovel with a lantern's feeble light. Besides, I'd left the body there for a pretty long time already. My sense of fear, dulled through excessive exhaustion, finally reared its ugly head. Anyway, for now, the most important thing was to hide the body. The shovel being found wasn't a big deal, but a corpse? If I found that, I'd share the same fate as Satoshi. First, I'd go back to the storage room at home. Then, I'd get the lantern. Now that it's gotten this dark, I might still need light to dig a hole for the body too. And I'd get the other shovel. And then I'd deal with the body first thing. Once that was done, I'd come back here, find the shovel, and bring it back. I had to do at least that much, but I was so tired. But complaining was getting me nowhere. If I started getting complacent now, everything would have been for naught. At some point, I had sat down. I gritted my teeth and endured lifting my heavy hips. The night was young. Of all the nights I'd experienced, none had ever been this long. When would it all end? The night was young. And then he gets so tired that 15-year-old Keiichi just falls asleep. Out there, in the rain, in the jungle.
I mean, wouldn't be too surprised with how his mind has been racing.
I mean, yeah, fair. Physical and mental exhaustion kicking in.
Yeah. But I think that might have been a good moment to save.
No.
You know.
A little bit more.
There never is a little bit more.
There is.
Time limit. I'm having a really long day tomorrow. What's no? How long is a little bit?
Putting more water on her. I think we're close to the end.
That is never a thing.
Trust me, bro.
That is never a thing.
Tifa, trust me, my dad works at Nintendo.
It's okay, Keiichi had a long day too.
Yeah, and it's just a little bit longer.
Keiichi should go to bed.
The lights at home were dazzlingly bright. And suddenly they reminded me of how hungry I was. I checked the clock and saw that it was almost 7. I thought for sure it was 2 or 3 in the morning already. I was surprised at how messed up my biological clock had gotten just from this one night. There was a warm light coming from the curtains in the living room window. The worlds between here and what was beyond those curtains were so different. If only that man hadn't shown up, I would have been in that light. I'd still be excited from the festival, and I'd be talking to my parents about how much fun I had with all of my friends. And then, though they made a hot meal for me, I would have eaten way too much at the stalls, barely eaten any of it, and gone back to my room. No doubt that crawling to my futon easily let myself fall asleep. But right now, I was completely different. There wasn't a single ember of warmth from those weak streetlights. Right now I was unconnected to any time spent with my family, and there was neither warm food nor the time to allow myself to sleep. My body exposed to the cold rain, I knew that I simply had to spur myself on to accomplish what I must. I realized how timid, how cowardly I was becoming. For what purpose did I need to kill someone so badly that it was worth feeling this terrible? I lost sight of that purpose. I selected the fastest, most fundamental way of saving Satoko and executed it without hesitation. That man was dead. He was gone. He would never, ever hurt Satoko again. We all fought frantically for days on end about Satoko's problem, and finally, with no options, we gave up, and I had solved it in one night. By myself, without anyone's help. Right about now, Satoko would be making dinner for her uncle despite not knowing when he'd return, and she might be spending the night trembling in fear of whether he'd yell at her for how it tasted. But her uncle wouldn't come home. She wouldn't have to fear his wrath nor let him make her feel sad. I see. I did it. I successfully saved Satoko. All I'd been thinking about for a long time was killing that man, and I'd forgotten the feeling that it was actually all to save her. I did. I did something good. That's right. I did something good, didn't I? I felt hot tears coming from my eyes, and that's when I first realized that the exhaustion I'd been feeling was actually guilt. The blade of guilt for a while now had just been scraping away with its tip, hurting my heart. It hurt so bad I couldn't stand it. It was throbbing painfully. It hurt so much, it was so painful that I cried. I cried tears of joy at saving Satoko. I didn't know why really anymore. I just cried. My tears fell and fell. As I stood there for a while, coming to terms with those warm tears, my heart was comforted a little. Alright, Keiichi Maebara. That's enough. There's nothing to regret or feel ashamed about. Both my body and mind were thoroughly exhausted, and that was a fact. It was only natural I couldn't feel anything. Even tomorrow and the day after that, I might not be able to feel anything for a while. But there was one thing that was true. There was the indisputable fact that I had saved Satoko. One day we would surely be rewarded. One day I would be proud of how distressing an enterprise I had undertaken to get Satoko's smile back. And so that I could wait for that day, I had to put the finishing touches on this night. If I left it undone, everything I'd accomplished today would be for naught. I looked back up at the sky, which didn't look like it would stop raining anytime soon. Then I rubbed my eyes and summoned forth energy from my core again. How long did I plan on spacing out? This isn't the time for daydreaming. Someone could find that corpse this very moment. That pessimistic thought was proof of a very natural emotion of fear had returned to me. As I allowed the fear to spur me onwards, I went to look for the other shovel and the lantern inside the storage room.
Good old current time with light on your phone.
I agree. I was fortunate. I remembered what it looked like around the streetlight the body was near. How dark it was quite possible I wouldn't have been able to look for it either. I didn't realize that when I left the place, so the idea of memorizing the spot hadn't even crossed my mind. And that's why I had to call it fortunate that I managed to get back to the body like this. The corpse was now located in a big muddy puddle. Half the thing had already sunk into the swamp like a pool of water. I only realized afterward that there was an unused irrigation channel right nearby clogged with fallen leaves and dirt, and there was rainwater flowing in from there. My shoes had been awash with water for a long time now, so without any hesitation I stepped into the puddle. Luckily, the whole muddy stream washed it all away. I couldn't leave any slight traces, like bloodstains or sneezes. The rain was like a blessing from heaven. I checked around me, paying very close attention, then turned off the lantern. It became pitch black, but my eyes got used to the darkness in a few moments. And once I managed to reach the streetlight on the other side, I was able to make out even faint lights. I stuck the shovel into the puddle right next to the corpse. The ground was even looser here than I had thought, and the shovel's tip easily slid inside. I had to hurry and dig. If I took too much time, I might lose my energy and strength again. Similarly, if you dig too fast, you're gonna exert yourself more than you need to. It felt almost like digging a hole in the sand at the beach. It was easy to dig, but no matter what, the muddy water kept flowing in, covering the hole. The digging wasn't going as well as I'd hoped. I dug, and the water would go in, so I couldn't get a sense of how deep it was. The only way for me to measure it was to bury my own foot in the mud. I'm digging just fine.
This is where you lose your shoe.
It's alright, don't be disheartened. Dig, dig, dig. Occasionally a car would come by on the road and I'd hurry to hide myself in the trees. If it was only passing through, I wouldn't have their eyes peeled in this kind of darkness. I understood it logically, but I still couldn't help but hide. What I was really scared of wasn't quite that one of the cars would coincidentally happen to witness me here. It was that the distance I could spot cars on was getting gradually shorter. At first, I noticed the splashing sounds from really far away as cars drove through them. I started noticing them less and less, and with a car that just passed by, I didn't notice it until the headlights were upon me. Is he digging it right at the side of a road?
He's not far from the road, no. They almost ran through the entire forest.
I felt my senses growing duller by the second. If someone were to take a peek in secret as I was burying the body at the worst possible time, maybe I wouldn't even notice. The moment I thought that, I took a good look all around me. I roused all my half-asleep senses and searched for signs of presence nearby. I rolled for perception. What if I found out someone was spying on me from the trees? A carnivorous feeling snarled at me, glaring. If there was, then I would dig another hole. I'd come this far already. In order to achieve perfection, I didn't care how much more I had to pay. I didn't know what kind of face I was making at the time, but it was definitely a fervently glaring one. My five senses reached the conclusion that nobody was present. I didn't breathe a sigh of relief. How long had I been digging this mud out of here? It was deep enough for it to go up to my knees. Maybe this was enough. Maybe I'd throw the corpse in as a test. I swallow, getting my breathing under control. Despite how much I'd beaten him, I was afraid of touching the corpse. So instead I dragged it by the feet to the hole. It took more than just a waggle and a tug to do it. But of course it did. Considering this man's weight was easily 80 kilograms. I feel hurt. I am 86 kilograms. Last time I stepped on the scale this week at the gym. Thanks for fat shaming me, Keiichi.
But you're tall.
Not fat shaming, weight shaming.
You're tall.
Mass shaming. Meh, average height. I rallied all my strength and dragged him. At this point, my groundless fear that he might suddenly start moving again had vanished long ago. His body fit perfectly into a muddy hole. This was more than deep enough. Alright, let's bury him. Quickly, quickly, quickly. If I did a perfect job of burying it here, everything would be over. I would hide it in the hole and none of this would have ever happened. When I realized I had only a little farther to go to finish everything, I was racked with pointless anxiety, like I was in a race against time. It was like I was absorbed in a delusion that if I didn't bury the body quickly, it might come back to life. In any case, in a great rush, I poured mud and dirt into the hole. If I didn't work efficiently, someone might find me here. Until now, I figured if someone saw, I'd just kill them, but not anymore. I was arrested with such absolute fear that if someone saw me, it would be all over. As I finished the work off, it was a total mess.
Splish, splash, squish, squash.
I drew the surface of the shovel across the ground, trying to make it flat. I was completely covered in mud at that point. The rain washed the mud off my body, but not off my now blackened clothing. My body and mind were caked with panic, with fear, with rain and sweat and mud. My shoulders heaving, I threw down the shovel and sat down in the mud. I was so exhausted that I wanted to lie down right here and sleep. It was over. This time, for real. It was over. The man was now in the bottom of the wet dirt. Right this moment, there were traces that this place had been dug up, but the rain and flowing muddy water would completely cover it all within moments. Yes, it was over. I did it. I did it. I did it, you motherfucker!
And now the rain will just wash all the fresh mud straight off of the body. And with some bad luck, it's gonna slide right down off the hill onto the road.
He's covered in mud and that's all, like, it's already like loose. It's already like sludge. And it's just gonna wash straight off.
Waiting for it.
And then I fell over backwards, face up in the mud. Raindrops pelted my face without mercy, but I didn't care. After staying there for a while, resting my mind, I got up again. It was over. So let's go home. We already buried the whole thing. So now it's like it's never happened. It never happened, so there's no reason for me to stay out here and get rained on. I wobbled to my feet. I wouldn't use the shovel anymore. I considered disassembling it, but I didn't have the strength in my absolute exhaustion. I didn't really need to take it apart anyway. Dragging the shovel behind me, I headed towards the light.
Dragging it behind him. We're leaving all the trails.
Oh, Kate, she is the worst.
And we still have the open grave. The other one.
I still had my bike. I had been laying in the grass by the road. Didn't know how I was going to get the still assembled shovel into the front basket. Put the shovel down the back of my shirt like I'd done with a baseball bat. And like the bat, the corner of it was on my back, making it very painful.
Why can't he just put it on the steering wheel?
Because he's not Dutch.
Oh.
That's a Dutch trait.
Like you can easily just put that on and hold it with one hand.
Maybe he has really small hands. Plus, if I relaxed my posture even a little, it would fall out behind me. I ended up having to carry the shovel in my left hand and ride my bike using only my right hand, as I dragged the shovel all the way home. Not only was I in a state of total exhaustion, this was a downpour. One hand on the handlebars, I was swaying to and fro like a drunk. But I didn't care. Even swaying like this, I got a little closer to home every time I paddled. Saw two lights swaying slowly in front of me. A car was approaching. Oh no, I need to get out of the way. From far away in the shadows of the darkness, a car appeared. Its dazzling lights washed over me. The driver made a short honk of a horn to inform me I was in the middle of a road. I have to get out of the way. I kept telling myself that, but not only was I riding one-handed, I was exhausted, so I couldn't do anything. Wobble, 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 wobble. I meandered about, not going to the right or to the left. The driver decided to swerve out of the way right in front of me and, without lowering its speed much, steadily came towards me. Its outline grew larger in my vision, and telling myself again that I really needed to get out of the way, I jerked the handlebars in one direction, then lost my balance and fell over, bike and all. My whole body splayed out and one foot got caught in the bike. Oh, this was seriously bad. My drowsiness quickly vanished, and just as a cold sweat broke out on my skin, the driver recklessly spun the wheel to the left, made a counterclockwise U-turn, and came right up to me and stopped. The driver's seat opened and the driver came out.
Ooishi.
Ooishi. You idiot, what are you doing here? I was pretty sure someone would yell at me like that.
Oh, Takano.
Oh.
Surprising. Oh. Oh my. Look who it is.
It was a woman's voice, and what I knew. I lifted my face off the ground and looked at her. This is the moment to leave it on a cliffhanger. Are they gonna be accomplices now? Is that gonna be the thing?
Nah, we're not gonna now admit I committed murder, help.
Oh my god. We're going full circle. Before we played the game, we were talking about women getting murdered by murderers that they got into a relationship while they were in jail.
Oh.
This is gonna be a variation of that. Takano finds us having killed Teppei. And because Takano has a hunger for the macabre and dark, we as Keiichi, are now going to complete what we had done earlier when we cock-blocked him during his Tomitake-san's date with her. We're gonna steal his girl. Yeah.
I mean, she might be one of the few people who would actually help us cover it up.
Have you ever been with a murderer? Just saying. Not many people can say that. There is no good answer to this.
I guess, yes.
Oh my lord. This is episode 8, right? In the chapter? 8 or 9?
Don't remember. Are we that far in already?
Yeah, I want to say 8 or 9. I think it's 8.
I could have seen that earlier when you saved, but I didn't look at it.
Yeah, it only really says the episode when you save after you finished it, when you're on the continue save load tips menu.
Oh, I thought it says it in the...
No, I haven't.
The saving thing.
I haven't saved in a while.
Okay, but at least we did it. And it seems...
Why do you sound happy about
like
this?
It actually is Teppei at the moment.
I still don't think so. I still don't think so.
Well, it would have been weird if someone else rode his bike, I guess. But it could still be the plot twist that it is someone else.
Nah.
It's not out of the question yet. But I think it might actually be Teppei, even though I'm not sure how they would then continue this chapter.
I mean, Irie has to play some part in the story as well.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for him to come back too.
He identified his hairline in the dark. True, that was a thing he said. Did he... I'm not 100% on the exact words used, but did he identify a hairline or his hairline? Also, either way, again, going back to me earlier complaining about him not having character art, maybe his hairline and somebody else's are very similar.
I don't think he's important.
I'm just saying
enough for the few lines that he has.
I'm just saying, if they want to go with we killed the wrong guy, they could, by virtue of never having seen Teppei.
Yeah, I'm not saying they couldn't, but then it would still be incredibly weird for someone else to ride his bike too. Like, they also need an explanation on why Takano, for example, was riding his bike.
He lost it in a boxing match. We watched Creed 2 yesterday. That's a plot point. No spoilers.
We'll see. I do think it might be Teppei. Small chance it's going to be Takano, if anything. If we murder someone else.
It can't be Takano because Takano is standing in front of us.
I mean
Tomitake.
Tomitake.
Or Irie.
Oh, Irie just came back from murdering Teppei. Stole his bike on the way out.
Did you know that if you murder a murderer, the amount of murderers remains the same?
Well, yeah, because one is dead.
Yeah, but you made another.
Yeah.
Unless you kill 2 people.
That would actually be funny if that does turn out to be the case, but...
Yeah. 1 brain cell. Yes, just killed 2 Teppeis with 1 stone. As I just started. Exactly. That's the beauty of it.
Does seem like the better option though, if you need to.
Yeah, no, I don't like it. Nah. If nobody would kill other people, there also wouldn't be murderers anymore. You know? Just saying.
Well...
My nose is super itchy.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I think I'm allergic to committing murder. Trying to get away with it.
Well, good thing you just did. Now you just need to deal with the aftermath.
I have one more question. Why does it feel so different? And I don't think I'm just speaking for myself here, but why does it feel so different if you read a visual novel where your main character kills 1 person, but when you play a game like any video game ever, where you end up slaughtering like 600 people on a playthrough?
Emotions, feelings,
but
build up tension.
I think it's really funny in a way how the human psyche just like adapts to these kind of circumstances. Because in a visual novel setting like this, like you know, it's like slice of life-ish, especially with how the game begins and how each chapter begins. So it's out of the norm, it's weird, it's bad, it's strange when a murder happens. But when you play, I don't know, a game like Metal Gear Solid, and within 5 minutes you can kill 10 people. But they're enemy soldiers.
Yeah, but it doesn't come with emotions. There's no feelings.
But why not? That's my question.
Why does there need to be?
Because I feel like, I don't know. I mean,
that's why you play this game. Here you have the emotions. Every time you go like, oh, but why not? Why don't they do it this way? Well, then you play that game where they do it like that.
I'm not saying this to sound like, oh, I'm sitting on my high horse, I'm morally superior, I don't play shooter games because imagine taking it. No, I play those games too.
Yeah, but there you play it with the mindset of doing that. Different situations, different things. You're not there for the feelings.
The human mind is crazy adaptable to all sorts of situations. And find them completely normal. I guess is my takeaway from this.
It's like when you see sad advertisements.
See sad what?
Yeah, when you see sad advertisements. The first time you might be, oh, that is so sad. But the moment you've seen it 10 times, it's like...
being desensitized. Yeah. True, I guess.
Works the same way, I want to say.
We need to make a study where we find people whose very first video game was something like Higurashi, where murder is out of the ordinary, versus people who played like shooter games and stuff first. And then do like a long-term psychoanalysis. See if there's a difference.
Well, you do that after we finish the games and let us know the outcome.
And as a prize, we don't just give them money for participating in this, we also offer to let them live on a farm and they get regular massages and alcohol. And I'm finally gonna get to check if people actually get marbled muscles like Wagyu beef. I still haven't forgotten.
Well, there's your murderer.
It's not murder. You can check these things without hurting people. Just like you could do an X-ray or an MRI or whatever on the cow to see if it's a Wagyu beef cow.
Sure, we're gonna do it without hurting people. I think your inner Keiichi is challenging there.
I think it's time for both of us to go to bed.
Being
channeling
more and more.
It's coming out.
Can't speak anymore. But yeah, we're gonna call it a night. It's gonna be a long ass day tomorrow, unfortunately.
It's a Monday too.
It's a Monday too, and it's gonna be a 12-hour Monday probably.
Yeah, skill issues.
I know.
Just work faster. Make it 10.5.
So Tuesday, I believe we will be back with more Higurashi. We haven't said which days we'll do what yet.
Tifa still hasn't thought of what game she wants to play.
We've discussed several things and you keep shooting them down.
Shit.
Anyway, schedule will be up on Monday. We'll still argue about what to play. No, we have not decided yet. There's still some arguments going on. Count on Tuesday, Wednesday being Higurashi.
Count on nothing. Trust the schedule when I post it tomorrow, people. One of us always tells the truth. The other one is always lying. Remember.
Always, sometimes.
And now you know which one is which. The bean thing counts as a massage? I guess. Tifa, do you have anything else to add to further confuse people?
No, pressing the button.
Please do. Thank you everybody for covering up a murder with us. We'll be back on Tuesday with something. Please check the schedule tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.